Now, from Turner Field in Atlanta, this is ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball, available in high definition. Tonight, the National League East leading Atlanta Braves on a roll and in search of an unprecedented 13th consecutive division title, take on the team with the best record in all of baseball, the St. Louis Cardinals. Baseball's 162-game season is a test of will, and no team has shown the ability to survive the daily grind better than the Cardinals. With a huge division lead, their place in the postseason appears to be all set. Nonetheless, their focus is on tonight.
Nobody's gotten distracted with trying to celebrate too soon or patting anybody on the back. The finish line's not in sight. We haven't backed off, and we don't intend to.
The Cardinals have the most impressive 3-4-5 hitters in the game. Each is a legitimate MVP candidate, and each has the ability to dominate a game.
Fly ball to left field, to the wall, and it's gone deep. Left field. Go crazy, folks.
But the Cardinals don't just dig the long ball. They've got 5 position players that have won Gold Gloves. A pitching staff that has been surprisingly strong. And recently they added Larry Walker, the former MVP. As you might expect, the Cardinals like where they currently stand.
Right now, it's real clear. We're in a terrific position. You just got to keep pushing, take advantage of that.
Look out, baby, 'cause you are the star. I'm bringing you love through. Get ready.
ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball, presented by McDonald's. Tonight, on a beautiful evening in Atlanta at Turner Field, it's the St. Louis Cardinals atop the National League Central up against the Atlanta Braves atop the National League East. It's the rubber match of the series. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller along with Joe Morgan, and welcome to Sunday Night Baseball. Now, you've got 2 high-powered ball clubs. They are both sizzling hot, coming in head-to-head. And, Joe, with this Cardinal ball club, I mean, they got those great hitters like Rowland and Pujols and Edmonds. And then they went out and added another one, former National League MVP, Larry Walker. They picked him up 9 days ago.
Well, Larry Walker is a Tony La Russa-type player. He can hit for average, hit for power. He has some speed. He can steal bases. He can play defense. And most of all, he's a smart player. Come to think of it, John, that's the kind of player we all like. But he's especially good on this Cardinal ball club. He's going to hit second in the lineup. That will allow them to move Renteria down to the 6th slot and be an RBI man again.
All right, now, meanwhile, the former Cardinal, J.D. Drew, has been the leading home run and RBI man, the leading hitter for the Atlanta Braves all season long. But now he's missing from the lineup, got a little bit of a hamstring problem, so he's not in there tonight.
Well, Chipper Jones is back. That's the key thing for the Braves. And Chipper Jones has assumed a different role this year. Now he's a leader. He's the guy that tells everyone what it's like to be an Atlanta Brave and what it's like to win 12 consecutive division championships. And right now his bat is hot, and that's the most important thing for the Braves.
All right, 2 home runs yesterday, 2 home runs in a game twice in the last 6 days for Chipper. Chris Carpenter, the 12-game winner, was going to go for the Cardinals tonight in this rubber match, but he hurt his back the other night. He is not in there for precautionary reasons, and so the young right-hander Danny Herron will take his spot in the rotation, at least for this one night. So Herron's getting ready in the bullpen, and he'll be up against the veteran right-hander John Thompson going for the Braves. Thompson will be taking them out here momentarily. We'll be back with the first pitch. Braves-Cardinals coming up.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by McDonald's, brought to you by McDonald's, and in part by Lowe's, where you'll find all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, improving home improvement.
From Turner Field in Atlanta, the Braves and Cardinals getting ready to play. Braves won here yesterday. The Cardinals won Friday night. This is the rubber match of the series. The Braves atop the Eastern Division, 8.5 games ahead of the second-place Philadelphia Phillies and Florida Marlins. The Cardinals with a 13-game lead in the Central Division over the Chicago Cubs, who lost today. The Dodgers lead the Western Division by 6.5 over both the Padres and the Giants. The Dodgers beat the Cubs today, coming from behind at Wrigley Field. Sam Ryan is not with us tonight. but let's welcome to the broadcast Rhys Davis. Rhys.
John, thank you very much. And you can't help but notice a bit of October foreshadowing feel in the air. But the mantra for both managers, Tony La Russa and Bobby Cox, always even keel. Jim Edmonds certainly buying in. I talked to him before the game. Said it was a little bit too early for all of the playoff preview hype, but the Cardinals' intensity is constant. Not only do they want to win, they want to see guys accomplish individual goals, like reaching 40 homers, getting to 20 wins. But over on the Braves side, a couple of guys when pressed admitted there's a little bit of extra energy going on over there, perhaps because of the Cardinals' great season, also fueled by the fact that Chipper Jones says this Cardinal lineup makes them look like the Yankees of the Midwest.
All right, Rhys, and it is an impressive lineup, that's for sure, but the Braves have been hitting the ball extremely well. They scored 9 runs yesterday against this Cardinals stat that has been so impressive all season long. John Thompson getting ready. Let's take a look at the Cardinals batting order presented by McDonald's. It'll be Womack, the leadoff man, at second base. Then Larry Walker, acquired just 9 days ago, in right field. He's been stealing bases for the Cardinals. Albert Pujols is at first base, having a monster year as usual. Scott Rowland, the big RBI man, third base, 98 runs batted in. Jim Edmonds is in center field, and since the 1st of July, he's been one of the hottest hitters on the planet. Edgar Renteria, the veteran shortstop, and a former Gold Glover himself, and an excellent RBI man. Reggie Sanders, the veteran. He's been in the World Series twice in the last 3 years with different ball clubs. Mike Matheny is the catcher, hitting 8th, and Danny Herron gets the call in place of Chris Carpenter on the mound, batting 9th, all up against the 30-year-old right-hander from Sulphur, Louisiana. There is John Thompson.
And John Thompson has a pretty good curveball, a changeup, and a splitter, and he also has a good fastball. The problem he's had so far this season is getting too much of the plate. With the fastball, you see 158 hits and 138 innings.
Tony Womack stands in, and John Thompson ready to go to work. That is a called strike. Thompson has been better this year the first time through the batting order. Hitters are hitting only .255 against him the first time around, but then .313 thereafter, as he misses with that one. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And John, I said he throws a splitter. Basically, he's fastball, curveball, and a changeup. He will sink it every once in a while.
Now this is going to be a tough play for Kyle. The long throw, too late.
And if Furcal can't throw him out from there, no one can, because he has one of the strongest, quickest releases in the game. And Tony Womack just flies down the line. Watch his first step. Now he's gone. I mean, he just gets out of the box really well. Doesn't take long, gets rid of it very quickly, and a strong throw, just not in time to get Womack. And you can see clearly he is safe at first base.
Furcal is an exciting player with a great arm. Although he has been erratic this year in the field. Here's Larry Walker. And that's ball 1. Walker overall this year is hitting .315. He's got 8 home runs, 25 batted in. He's only played in 45 games. He's been in 7 games with the Cardinals and has hit 2 homers with 5 batted in, and he's stolen 4 bases as a Cardinal. And Womack back to the bag at first. Now Womack has not done a whole lot of running this year. He has 18 steals, and I asked him about that before the game, Joe. He says he has the green light, but you know, he has to pick his spots, he feels, with all these big sluggers hitting behind him.
And I agree with that. He has to be a little more careful when you have such a good hitting team behind you.
1 hop over to first. Franco steps in the bag 1, and too late to second base. Womack makes it in ahead of the tag.
And let's take a look at the defense for the Atlanta Braves. We've got Chipper Jones moving back to third base from the outfield, and that shows a little bit of his leadership here on this ball club. He had been entrenched in left field the last couple of years. Now he's back at third base again. And of course they have the Gold Glove winner Andrew Jones in center field, 6-time Gold Glove winner.
Mark DeRosa in left field, and Charles Thomas in right field, as J.D. Drew is out of the game, and so is Eli Marrero. Both were in the original starting lineup, as Albert Pujols hits a high chop foul on the third base side. And Albert Pujols, .320, 35 homers, 85 driven in, And his left foot's giving him some trouble right now.
Well, John, that was the sinker I was talking about. He just chopped, and he got Larry Walker with a sinker also. So his sinking fastball seems to be moving very well because they're hitting right on top of it.
1 strike to count to Pujols. Up the middle. Giles keeps it on the infield. 1 hop throw to first, and Franco knocks it down. Keeps it in the vicinity of first base. Womack stops at third, and Pujols is safe at first on the infield hit.
Third baseman, number 27, Scott Rowland.
So 2 infield hits in the inning for the Cardinals.
Well, he gets jammed. He makes a very good pitch. Watch the ball run in. See, look at that. Ran well in on Pujols, but because he wasn't trying to pull it, he did fight it up the middle, although he broke his bat. And you could see that Giles had a tough play. And watch where the pitch ends up. Runs right in on the hands. You see him pull his arms in trying to get to it. But that's what good hitters do. They fight off good pitches.
So now Scott Rowland, who's been the great RBI man this year, and he was late on that low fastball.
And it's interesting, John, because normally that wouldn't have even been a close play at first. But as you mentioned, Albert's left foot is bothering him, so he doesn't get down the line as quickly as normal.
Scott Rowland hitting .388 with runners in scoring position right now. The infield double play death. Runners at first and third. Just off the outside there by Thompson.
And
1
John,
ball, 1 strike.
Interesting thing here. This is Scott Rowland has found himself in this situation a lot in the first inning. And with runners at first and third, less than 2 outs. And he has been delivering. He's a very good situational hitter. He knows what he has to do to get the runner in from third rather than always just trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
He got that one airborne, but was late on it, fouling it off to the right into the upper deck. 1 ball and 2 strikes now.
So far, watching Thompson, John, he's got good stuff. I mean, excellent stuff. He's got a live fastball that's moving in on the right-handed hitters and down away from the left-handers. And that fastball, he just turned loose with speed up, and Rowland was late on it.
Rowland has not had a hit in this series, and he says he's not happy with the way he's swinging the bat right now. Runners at first and third, 1 out. And back to the screen.
Another good pitch. That was a sinking fastball, but Rowland got underneath it. He was trying to get the ground ball on that pitch. Excellent.
I mean, Thompson was trying to get the ground ball.
Yeah, watch where Estrada was set up inside. You see the ball sinking down. I don't know how Rowland got underneath it, but he did. That pitch was well down out of the strike zone.
So the battle continues with Womack at third and Pujols at first. And he struck him out.
That's a good high fastball, 94 miles an hour. He went upstairs. The one he fouled down the right field line was upstairs, 92 miles an hour. That's great pitching there by Thompson. But he's got great stuff tonight to work with. And watch this pitch up at the top of the strike zone. Good fastball away. This was the fastest pitch he had thrown him, so you see Rowland a little late on it. But excellent pitching there by Thompson in this situation.
So 2 down. Rowland, and that does not often happen. Rowland unable to get that runner home from third with less than 2 down. Now Jim Edmonds, the hitter. And a fastball that misses down. Since the 1st of July, Jim Edmonds has been about the hottest hitter in the planet, but even he says that his last couple of days he has not swung the bat well, and he says it's such an ethereal thing. One day you wake up and where's your swing gone? He's trying to find it again. And he chases that high one. It looked like it was out of the strike zone. 1 ball and 1 strike to Edmonds.
If a hitter would never go into a slump, if he swung the bat all year long the way he wants, he would hit 500. So that's the nature of the beast. You will swing the bat good for 3 or 4 days at a time. Then you do not swing it well, then you get hot again. As long as it averages out to 300.
On the inside corner, strike 2 call. So the Cardinals, we got things set up nicely, but on infield hits, the 3 guys who've hit the ball all hit ground balls on the infield.
But he's throwing the ball exceptionally well, I think, at this point.
John Thompson ahead of the count, 1 and 2 to Edmonds. Struck him out.
Another good high fastball.
Thompson gets out of the jam with strikeouts of both Rowland and Edmonds. Very impressive. Now young Danny Herron will take the mound. The Braves are coming up. Turner Field, Atlanta. No score as the Braves come up now in the last half of the first inning. And here is the Braves batting order brought to you by McDonald's. Rafael Furcal at shortstop, and he's been hot lately. Charles Thomas, an exciting young player up out of the minor leagues in right field. Marcus Giles at second base. Chipper Jones, low numbers for him for the season, but he's coming on here lately. Third base. Johnny Estrada, he's been a revelation at the plate and behind the plate at catcher. Julio Franco, the ancient one, at first. Andrew Jones in center. Mark DeRosa in left field hitting eighth, and John Thompson, the pitcher. And Danny Herron, the young right-hander, starting in place of Chris Carpenter, delivers, and that's a high strike call to Rafael Furcal, who had bluffed the bunt. Furcal hitting .283 overall, and that's too low from Herron. And you see Herron's numbers are not very impressive. He's made only one other start in the big leagues this year. Spent much of the early part of the season in the minor leagues. A bloop. Walker in front of him, base hit. Furcal with the big turn at first. He'll hold on.
Well, it was a high fastball, and that's not where Herron wants to pitch anyway. He throws a good splitter, and he wants to keep the fastball down. That one was up, and Furcal just fought it off into the outfield. High fastball, and he jammed him, but anytime the ball is up, you have a chance of blooping it over the infield, as he did there.
Rafael Furcal, 15 steals for the year. He's got explosive speed. And here's Charles Thomas. Back to the bag is Furcal. Now this seemed like a pretty good hit and run combination here, or maybe a steal with Thomas, a guy who could be adept at moving him over to third. I envision all kinds of possibilities here, Joe, for the Braves in terms of starting.
Well, let's see what Bobby Cox does.
That's a ball up and away to Thomas. I mean, now what's going on? They have what are they waiting for? Come on. There's Bobby Cox. The teams that he's won 60, or that he's managed 1,617 wins. Been managing the Braves for a long time. Time taken as Thomas backs away. I mean, the last time we saw the Braves on Sunday Night Baseball was much earlier this year, and we really had not even heard about Charles Thomas yet. He came out with all the injuries they had and really helped ignite this ball club. It was really when they had a lot of injuries. Guys like Charles Thomas, Nick Green, a young second baseman, came up. These were guys who really helped get the Braves going. They injected a lot of energy into this ball club. He's from the San Francisco Bay Area. He's only been in the big leagues for 50 days. That ball is hammered foul into the seats. Charles Thomas listed at 6 feet tall. He's 25 years old. He lives in Asheville, North Carolina now. He went to Western Carolina University. And by the way, in the big leagues, his batting average is .325.
Now, this is a good hit and run situation if you want to do something, John, but still, Bobby Cox has actually managed this team better than we can, so let's see what he does.
Go. Go. Here's Bobby. It's Chipper Jones who's in the hole alongside. 2-1 the count. Furcal is running. Semi pitch out, but he beats Matheny's throw. And that's not easy to do.
Well, Furcal had a great jump, slid to the outside, and they could not make the tag. And you're right, Matheny got a good ball to throw on because it was up and away, but Furcal had a good jump. Now watch the throw. He is there way ahead of the throw, so a nice jump there at first base by Furcal.
So now Charles Thomas' job to get him over to third. 3-1 is the count. And he might have chased ball 4 right there. 3-2 the count. Charles Thomas. And as you have often pointed out, Joe, once it's 2 strikes, the guy
just has to put the ball in play.
You can't look for a certain pitch that you can pull. You have to
go ahead and drive him in now.
Pops it up. Scott Rowland. And that is out number 1 for Collins, still at second.
And a good job by Herron to keep the ball on the infield. And let's take a look at this really fine Cardinals defense. I mean, they've got gold gloves on the entire left side of the infield. They've got a gold glove behind the plate, center field. And, of course, Larry Walker has the most gold gloves won. He's won 7 gold gloves in right field. Although I don't think he's as good as he used to be, he's still an excellent outfielder.
Larry, that was Joe. I didn't say that.
Well, I don't think he'll win a gold glove is my point this year.
Deep fly ball foul off the right field line by Marcus Giles, and the count is 0-1 to Giles.
Did I mention that Tony Russo thinks that Larry Walker is a very smart player? That's making up for saying that he had lost a step. Yeah. Yeah, Tony says that really, I mean, he says that he's a very smart player, and that's why he actually hits him second. And I'll explain that when he comes up again.
All right, stay tuned for that. There's the ball inside now to Marcus Giles. Giles, who is a product of the Braves farm system and an emerging star. He had a breakout year last year, but he got injured earlier. And then Nick Green got brought up and did a great job for about a month and a half while Giles was out.
I mean, Giles has really turned into an excellent offensive player. I mean, as you mentioned, he's had some injuries last year and this year, but I mean, when he's healthy, I mean, he's a very, very good second baseman and a good hitter.
Bluffing for Kyle back to second base. Giles missed about 2 months with a broken collarbone this year. And lately, he's had a sore groin muscle just the last couple of weeks. But Bobby Cox kept him out of the lineup here yesterday afternoon. And they say when Giles got to the ballpark and saw that his name was not in the lineup, he was visibly upset. Although when the writers asked him to comment on it, he said he would decline making a comment about it. But Bobby Cox just said, hey, he needs a breather. That's into right center field. That one is really smoked. Walker way back there. He's going to have to chase it, and it bounces over the wall. An automatic double for Giles. That gets for Carl home, and the Atlanta Braves have taken a 1-0 lead.
And that's Giles at his best. He goes the other way really well. He hits the ball hard in the right center field. And when he stays back through the middle, he's a 300 hitter. That ball's right in the middle of the plate. Not a good pitch from Herron. But you see Giles not trying to pull it. Goes the other way. And it bounces up into the seats. Right over Hank Aaron's swing out there in right center. There it is.
There's Henry. Here's the hammer. Chipper Jones now 2 home runs yesterday. And they say that Chipper had a session with his dad here recently, who was always his hitting coach when he was a kid. And that Chipper has started coming around and swung the bat the way you expect Chipper Jones to swing the bat, because this guy has been about as reliable an RBI man over the last 9-10 years as there's been in big league baseball.
And it's great because he's a switch hitter. I think when you're a switch hitter, obviously you have an advantage if you're strong from both sides. And there you see his numbers before the All-Star break and after the All-Star break.
214 average, which is just hard to imagine with Chipper Jones as steady as he's been. That's on the outside for a strike, 3-1. Chipper Jones started this year with a 309 lifetime batting average, hitting better than 300 each of the last 6 years, and over 100 RBIs 8 consecutive years. You see the composite numbers. 241 is average right now. Yeah, pretty good pitch there by Herron. Had a little extra on that one. 95 miles an hour on the outside. Danny Herron, and they're high on him. And he could join this rotation on a regular basis as early as next year. A run is already in for the Braves. A runner at second. Albert Pujols, he waves off Herron and makes the play unassisted as Giles moves over to third base. Out number 2.
And a good pitch from Herron. He threw him 2 fastballs away to set that up, and then he came inside with a fastball.
Now Johnny Estrada will come up. You may recall how the Braves got Estrada when they traded Kevin Millwood to Atlanta. And
No, you just said you traded Millwood to Atlanta.
When Atlanta traded Millwood to Philadelphia. There we go. You knew what I meant.
Yeah, I know, but I wanted to make sure the fans out there knew. Yeah.
If I just say even halfway what I mean, Joe understands.
Yeah.
Estrada pulls one foul, but that's a good point, Joe. Maybe other people don't understand when I say something that's completely opposite what really happened. Anyway.
Well, that was the first time you couldn't read my lips either. I don't know what's going on there.
The Estrada got traded from Philadelphia to Atlanta for Kevin Millwood.
Right.
And just about everybody in the country said, what's the matter with the Braves? They got totally ripped off. Well, Johnny Estrada has been a revelation. I mean, this guy, his first full year as the regular catcher. Javi Lopez is in Baltimore now, and he's hitting .323. Especially potent in spots like this. That's a foul ball out of the reach of Pujols. Estrada is hitting .392 with runners in scoring position. There's the man who made that trade, John Sherholtz, although I don't think even John Sherholtz wanted to make that trade.
Right.
I mean, they had a salary issue at that time. But here's Estrada, and he's doing a great job. He's been especially adept at picking up these men in scoring position, but he chases the high, hard one. 94 miles an hour, strike 3, and that's the inning. But the Braves get a run. Edgar Renteria coming up 1-0 Atlanta. Okay, John and Joe are coming back on now. They've stopped that loud music, and you can go ahead and listen again. There, now it's okay. The soothing tones of Joe Morgan now. There's a base hit to right field for Edgar Renteria. First ball swinging.
Well, Thompson pitched his way out of a jam, and what he showed you was good stuff. He threw a sinking fastball to Larry Walker to get the little chopper sinking away, and then he went to the high fastball to get rolling and the high fastball to get Jim Edmonds. When you can pitch those two guys upstairs like that with great fastballs, I mean, it tells you that you've got good stuff that particular night.
John Thompson now with a 1-0 lead as we start the second inning. He's given up a leadoff single hit to Renteria, but a ground ball. The batter, Reggie Sanders, and that's a ball down and away. And it's significant. I mean, he got that ground ball out from Walker. The two hits he allowed in the first inning were ground balls and never left the infield. And now a ground ball right through the hole to start off this inning by Renteria.
Well, he's got a good sinking fastball, and he's using it properly. And then every once in a while he needs a strikeout. He goes upstairs with the riding fastball.
Mike Matheny on deck. Nobody out. Sanders, who has power. That's on the ground and off the glove with the diving Furcal. And Renteria is going to try for third. The throw in is too late, and on that throw, taking advantage, going to second, is Reggie Sanders.
And this is what the Cardinals do best. They run the bases very well. They know exactly how to take the extra base, and they took 2 extra bases there because the left fielder thought he had DeRosa thought he had a shot at Renteria third. Well, first of all, it's a ground ball in the hole, so right away you see Renteria's running full speed towards second base. And then he just hustles around to third, and on the throw, Sanders hustles down to second. So very smart base running on behalf of the Cardinals by both Renteria and Reggie Sanders. That's the kind of baseball I like to see, John.
Reggie
Put
Sanders,
pressure on the defense.
I mean, Reggie hits a lot of home runs, but he's a very fast runner. Now here's Mike Matheny, who's been slumping. And he takes down and away for ball 1. He was working with hitting instructor Mitchell Page during batting practice, trying to get over some bad habits that have seen his average plummet recently. This is a part where a ground ball is shorter to second would get a run home. It's 1-0 Atlanta. The middle infielders are playing deep.
John, I still think this is the most misunderstood situation for a hitter in the game today. See, I don't like a ground ball to shortstop here. If he hits a ground ball to the right side to second base, not only can Renteria score, but Sanders could move over to third where he can score on another ground ball or a fly ball. But if you hit a ground ball to shortstop, you're only going to get one of them in. You have to hit like there's just a runner at second and no one out.
But you better make it through to that second baseman because the first baseman is pulled in.
Yeah, but you take a shot over there with him pulled in, you're going to hit it past him.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, he's in protecting against the squeeze for some reason, but I still think that you have to take a shot. You still have to take a shot over this way. But you're right, he is in at first base.
I'm just saying you better be accurate if you're going to hit to that side.
All right.
And that's what he does.
That's accurate.
Going home with it is Giles, not in time. Giles took a huge gamble, and Renteria, who runs well, just beat the throw, and it is 1-1, and they got nobody out in that one.
Well, again, good job by Matheny. Good job hitting the ball to the right side. That moves Sanders over to third now, and it also brings Renteria home. Renteria goes right away. Again, that's good base running by the Cardinals. They don't take anything for granted, and Giles tried to took the tough play, and he wasn't able to complete it.
Do you see where Estrada took that throw? I think he was stunned. I think he was out of position.
Well, I also think that Giles should have gone to first base, but you know, that's hindsight. Giles thought he had a shot at home plate, but he thought he might catch Renteria napping, just jogging to the plate, but he wasn't.
Well, he shocked Estrada too, I think.
Now watch Renteria over here. As soon as the ball's hit, now he's going. He looks, he sees he's coming home, and he just hustles and slides. But you're right. But then the throw was a little bit toward third base. I just think it was the wrong play, but that's, you know, I mean, Giles chose to make the play, and it didn't work out.
I mean, it would have been incredible if he'd gotten him. So Matheny gets an RBI, but now and he does not make an out. And yet I want to give him credit for an extremely productive out.
Yeah, moving the ball to the right side, that allows Sanders to be over at third, where he can score on a fly ball now. Or
the squeeze is on. The ball is bunted in the air, but foul and out of the reach of Estrada.
Or he can score on a squeeze now. So a good, I just say, very productive out by Matheny. They're playing the game, and that's what Tony La Russa likes. But I guarantee you, so many times we see runners at second and third, and guys just try to drive the runner in from third, and they do not move the runner from second over to third base. And I think that was a perfect situation there to show how it does work properly.
So if you run the squeeze once and it gets fouled, do you run it again?
Well, I think what you do now is you do this, what he calls the safety squeeze. Use a safety squeeze.
This is
right.
And booted by Thompson. He recovers too late. And everybody's safe.
Well, Thompson was going to make the right play. He was going to go to second base for the force out, which would have kept, you know, the double play in order. But in his haste, he didn't catch the ball. And watch, the ball's bunted right back to him. So now, watch, you don't even see Matheny in the play. But he had plenty of time, and then he drops it, and everyone's safe. And I mean, just a routine play. He turned his head too quickly, took his eyes off the ball, and then just too late to go to first base.
Well, there have been 7 balls the first trip through the batting order that have been put on the ground by Cardinals hitters, and only one of those 7 guys has actually been retired. Here's Tony Womack, who got an infield hit his first time. That's hit sharply to Chipper Jones. They get one at home. Back to first and down the right field line. Here comes Matheny. He'll score. Over to third base is Herron, and Womack ends up at second. Wow, the Braves are having a terrible time. 2-1 St. Louis.
Well, this is, I don't think they're going to be able to get a double play because Womack is so fast. Chipper Jones does the proper thing. He makes sure he catches the ball first. And you can see he didn't have a good grip on it again. He wasn't going to be able to get Womack at first base. He was not going to be able to get Womack. So I think that's why Bobby's upset. He's saying, what are you doing there? Meaning, you know, you keep the double play in order if they just force the guy out at the plate.
I mean, with these guys coming up now, all of a sudden the Cardinals are thinking about a big inning. Although nobody's hit the ball yet to speak of. I mean, it's been ground balls and bunts and bad decisions and
but part of it,
grounders, things like that.
Part of this is caused by the Cardinal speed as well. You know, Renteria going to third, forced him to throw to third, let Sanders go to second, and he stayed out of the double play situation by getting to second base. And then they just kind of executed from there, and the Braves have not been able to execute.
You see right now, Herron at third and Womack at second. The middle infielders are back. The corner infielders are pulled in. Walker chops one to short. And right through. And in between, Hop that got through. Herron scores, and so does Womack. And it's a 4-run inning for the Cardinals. And getting ground balls tonight for John Thompson has not worked out well.
Well, one of the things you're taught as an infielder is when the ball is hit, you start forward. So you can try to get it on the big hop or the short hop. Now watch this. This is that in-between hop, and it's just too tough. And he knew that if he backed up, he wouldn't be able to throw Walker out at first base. So he was caught in the middle decision-wise there. If he backs up, Walker's going to beat it out at first base because he runs well. And if he comes get it, he takes the risk of it going through him, and it did.
Now Albert Pujols and the big sluggers are up. 4 runs already in, still only 1 man out. I mean, this has been a nightmare for Thompson, who keeps making good pitches, getting ground balls, and not getting outs. Walker, by the way, gets credit for a single because it was that in-between kind of a hop, and 2 runs batted in. Albert Pujols, the hitter, he got an infield hit his first time. He takes that sinker too low.
I know, John, it hasn't worked out for the Braves, but I'll give both Rafael Furcal and Giles credit for not being afraid to try to make the play. I mean, I don't think it was the right play personally, but they tried to make the play, which is what you want from your players. You don't want them to be tentative.
And back to the bag is Walker.
I mean, you don't want your players playing safe baseball. I mean, like I said, if he backs up on that play and catches on the big hop, he doesn't throw Walker out at first base. So he took the chance to try to make the play, and it didn't work.
1 ball and no strikes to Pujols with Rolen on deck. That pitch does not count. Timeout called by the umpire just as Thompson was about to throw the pitch, and now he's all upset.
Well, and I think something you have to do as an umpire, you have to be a little more aware that a pitcher can hurt himself if he tries to stop his throw when he's that far into his motion. I mean, just let the pitch go. I mean, if the hitter waits that long and the pitcher starts his motions, if he'd have tried to stop his motion, he could have hurt himself.
Eric Cooper, the home plate umpire tonight. And back to the bag at first is Larry Walker. Chuck Merriweather at first. The crew chief, Mike Riley, at second. And C.B. Buckner is at third base. Here's Merriweather. There's Riley at second. And Buckner at third. It's the umpiring alignment for this one. 1 ball and no strikes to Pujols, a very powerful right-handed hitter. And that was not the pitch, I don't think, that Thompson was hoping to make, but he got away with it.
No, he got it up and out over the plate, and Pujols can handle that pitch very well. And the reason he handles it because he starts with his hands high. Now watch, he doesn't drop them. His hands stay right up there where the ball is. A lot of hitters will drop their hands and try to get them back up, but Pujols stays there. Like most of the great hitters today, they all keep their hands above the strike zone, and it stays there. They stay there.
A ball and a strike. And that just misses inside. 2-1.
And a good sinking fastball. He's trying to get the double play ground ball. And as I said in the first inning, Thompson's got good stuff, but it's being wasted so far in this ball game.
Well, you know, one of the big differences between these two ball clubs, you mentioned how the Cardinals defense is so strong and all those Gold Glovers out there all over the field. The Braves have made 31 more errors than have the Cardinals this year. And that's been the whole difference early in this game.
Correct.
The Cardinals have made 65 errors this year and have given up 33 unearned runs. The Braves have now made 96 errors for the year, including 2 tonight. They've given up more than 50 unearned runs. That ball is hit well. Andrew Jones, one of the best in the business, gets there.
And he got there easily, John. When that ball was first hit, I thought it might get in the gap, but he just ran it down. And that's why a lot of people consider him the best center fielder in the game.
Back to first, Larry Walker. Rolen coming up next.
The one thing I like about Andrew Jones, I mean, he just runs hard to get to that spot. And then he slows down. He doesn't run casually to get to that spot. He runs hard, and then he waits.
See, now that's the first ball that's been hit in the air by the Cardinals. The 12th hitter of the game is the first guy to actually avoid hitting one on the ground against it. And that's the guy who should be making him hit it to all the time. Andrew Jones.
Well, they did again.
Andrew's going to have to hurry back on this one. Still going. Gone! A home run! Scott Rowland hits one over the wall, and now it's a 6-run inning for the Cardinals. The 27th homer, and number 99 and number 100 for RBIs for Scott Rowland.
Well, he got him out with the high fastball before. This fastball is not up like in the first inning. And watch where this pitch is. This one is down. The other one was up right in here. And he gets underneath it and drills it to center field straight away.
Jim Edmonds, the 9th hitter of the inning. And he starts him with that high fastball, fouled back to the screen.
Well, let's take a look. That ball's toward the outside part of the plate, but not up enough, considering the way he pitched him in the first inning.
Well, I mean, the Cardinals have the best record in the majors, and
there's a reason.
You give away all the things that the Braves gave away, and then all of a sudden, even though Thompson was making good pitches and getting more ground balls and more ground balls, all of a sudden one of their guys got it, and now it's a 6-run inning. 0-2 the count.
John, I think it's very difficult for any pitcher, I don't care how good his stuff is, to go through this Cardinal lineup for 4 times during the course of a game without getting hurt. And when you make mistakes, I mean, you're just compounding the problem. They're all such good hitters.
That's a foul ball.
As I mentioned, the Tony La Russa type player is the guy that hits for average, hits for power, can run, and play good defense. And that's what the Cardinals have done. They put the ball in play, hit for an average. They've run the bases very, very well tonight, and they've hit with power. So, I mean, this is what Tony La Russa loves about his team.
I don't know if that's a cutter or a slider, but it's off the inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's Tony La Russa. And he never comes out and puts it exactly that way, but it seems like one of his big jobs right now is to keep them at that same high level of intensity that built up this 13-game lead in the first place.
Well, that is a difficult job, except when I talked to Tony today, one of the things he said is that he's most pleased with about this team this year is that they keep playing hard. They keep going after it. They keep, you know, strapping them up and going out there playing the game hard each and every day, even though they do have the big lead.
3-2. Up the middle, and there is for Kyle, and they get him. I don't know if that hit off Thompson or off the mound, but the inning is over. Edgar Renteria left on deck. When we come back, a look at one of the great moments in the last 15 years of Major League Baseball coverage on ESPN. A countdown towards moment number 1, and that was moment number 4, June 29th, 1990. Dave Stewart and Fernando Valenzuela with no-hitters in the same day, both on ESPN, and 2 of the great competitors of their time, Stewart and Fernando.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what's going to be better than that. That's only number 4.
So there are 3 moments to go.
Yeah.
Of great moments during Major League Baseball coverage on ESPN. Now in our 15th season is Julio Franco, who was he was already, what, a 10-year veteran when we first started in 1990. Slider in the dirt from Danny Herron.
You don't mind if I vote for that to be my number 1 moment before
the 2
no-hitters. But actually, because I was sitting at home, I watched the first game with Dave Stewart, and then I watched the West Coast game with Fernando Valenzuela. I saw both of those games. I know you were probably off someplace playing or something, but I was watching the games on TV.
I was playing?
Yeah, you were doing a game someplace.
Well, that's true.
Working. Yeah, but I was sitting at home, and I was watching the games. And I'm not usually a pitchers kind of guy, you know, but I was pulling for the pitchers in that situation to make it.
For that one time.
That one time.
Julio Franco hits softly. Renteria. And there is one away. The 46-year-old Franco is retired, one away.
And he's hitting 286.
Hit a huge hit. Yeah, I think maybe the key hit of that game yesterday.
Right.
A pinch hit, base hit down the right field line. It put the Braves back ahead in that ball game. Julio Franco, 6 homers, 39 RBIs. He's hitting just under 400 as a pinch hitter. And he just moved ahead of Mickey Mantle on the all-time list of base hits. A mighty cut by Andrew Jones, but he did not get it. Andrew hitting .261. He got 19 homers, 64 batted in. That is a base hit out of the reach of Renteria. Third hit for Atlanta. Remember, Atlanta going without J.D. Drew tonight. Cardinals with a 6-run second inning, 4 of the 6 runs unearned.
And John, one of the things that Tony La Russa thought was important today was to get a lead, for Danny Herron, because he hadn't pitched well, in his prior start this year, and he was just filling in, and he just, wanted to give him a little more of a margin for error, and they've done that.
Mark DeRosa. This could be 2. Renteria. There's 1. Back to first. 2. A double play. And just like that, the inning is over. 1 hit, nobody left. Cardinals are coming up again. Atlanta, just outside of downtown Atlanta at Turner Field, where the St. Louis Cardinals are leading the Braves 6-1. Sunday night baseball. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan, your Sunday night telecasters. And here is Edgar Renteria. He slapped a single, a ground ball into right field to start that 6-run second inning rally. John Thompson. A ground ball for Kyle. Nice pickup. Spins and gets him. Nice play.
And an excellent play there for Carl. I mean, he just reached out as far as he could. He got the good hop, which helps him out behind the bag. Now watch. I mean, he stretches out completely just to get there. But he got the good hop, and once he catches it, he has such a strong arm that you're going to be out if he can make the catch on the infield.
So this inning starts out with a very fine defensive play by the Braves. 1 out. Here's Reggie Sanders. Sanders hit a ground ball base hit his first time, just off the glove of Furcal in the hole and into left field. And that slider misses down and away. 1 ball and no strikes to Reggie Sanders.
John, I met Reggie's mom. She's here. Thelma. She came down from North Carolina and to see her son play.
And she taught him the game.
Yeah.
And she was a player. She was a fast pitch softball player. I mean, I don't want to tell your story.
No. Actually, John, I didn't know that. I just knew she was a nice lady, and I had a long conversation with her, but I didn't ask her how many home runs she hit or anything. That didn't enter my mind at that point.
Should have asked her if she'd like to throw you some batting practice. Yeah. 1 and 2 to Reggie as Thompson challenged him with the high hard one right there.
But I compliment her on good work of raising a fine son, because Reggie's one of the really nice guys in this game.
Really good guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And where he goes, the teams usually win.
And I mean, he contributes. He hits a lot of home runs, drives in runs, and as you said, he plays great defense, and he runs well.
Outside. Really, when he played here in Atlanta for 1 year, they won. I mean, they went to the postseason again. But that was the worst year of his whole career. And he had injury problems, and even when he came back, he wasn't hitting. I mean, that was the one real nightmare in Reggie Sanders' career. 2-2 the count. And it's a little bit low. Sanders plays for a different team every year, it seems like. 7 seasons, and he's been with a different team, but never gets traded during this. He spends 1 full season with each of those teams.
Well, John, I think a lot of it has to do with money. I mean, he hits home runs, drives in runs, and every year they want to save this salary.
He draws a walk. That hard sinker ran too far in. First walk allowed by Thompson. Thompson been getting a lot of ground balls tonight, but the Braves have not always executed in terms of handling those grounders. In that second inning, 9 men came to the plate. There were 4 hits. 3 were singles that were ground balls that found holes. There was also a 2-run homer that capped off the rally. The Braves made 2 errors. There was also a bad decision.
Yeah, bad decision
made in there on what turned out into a fielder's choice. Here's Mike Matheny, who hit that ground ball. Pops it up. Franco comes over. He's got room. And that retires Matheny. 2 men down here in the 3rd inning. Sanders holds it first. Here are the plays we're talking about. Matheny hit this ground ball, and Giles, instead of going to get Matheny, tried to get the out of the plate and got nobody.
Well, when you're that deep, you're not supposed to come home. Well, nice play by Jones, but a poor throw by Estrada and just a misplay there by Thompson. And this was just a tough play. You had to make a decision. You're going to give up the single or you're going to try to make the play. And Furcal chose to try to make the play, and it didn't work out. By the way, John, Reggie's mom, Thelma, wanted me to say hello to her siblings, her brother and sister, Rose and Stoney and Sonny. So they're back in Carolina.
Okay. And maybe we have to explain to them that Reggie Sanders, since that foul out, took second base. Reggie just went over to second. We were showing all the highlights of misplays by the Braves in that 2nd inning,
and there must have been another one.
This was a mental misplay.
Well, you're right. I was watching the highlights myself.
Danny Herron. This is Furcal, and it matters not. 1 man left at second, not first. 6-1 St. Louis. We go to the last of the 3rd. Here's John Thompson to lead off the last of the 3rd inning. And it's 0-1. Danny Herron got him chasing a high fastball out of the zone. 6-1. The Cardinals are leading. Thompson, 9 hits and 45 at bats this year. He's hitting 200. 4 runs batted in. By the way, we're talking about Reggie Sanders as that slider just misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sanders moving over to second base, and we have the play for you. Heads up by Reggie, and the whole Atlanta team basically fell asleep on the play. And I think that's what you'll discover. 1 ball and 2 strikes, and we think that Reggie Sanders should get credit for a stolen base.
Yeah, I think so. Once the pitcher has the ball.
Yeah. And I think once the official scorer sees what we've seen, he'll change the call as Thompson strikes out.
Well, Franco catches the ball. Now he tosses it to the pitcher. Now the pitcher starts to walk back toward the thing. Now watch, Giles will go up here and turn his back. Furcal's already turned his back. And there you see Sanders just take off. And the pitcher had the ball. He knew, but now watch, the pitcher has the ball. Now he knows that he sees him going, but it's too late. And maybe, John, that's why they don't give him a stolen base, because the pitcher wasn't on the mound, on the dirt area. Well, I guess. I still think he should get it.
A steal is a steal.
Well, that's what I say. But, you know, I mean, you got to give the guy credit for doing something right there.
Now, here's the umpire, Mike Riley, as Thompson was hollering at him. He said, hey, that's your job.
Well, Thompson was wondering whether timeout had been called, and the umpire said, that's your job. If you want timeout, ask for it, or it's your job to hold him at first base, because in between innings, Bobby Cox came out and argued as well. Sometimes the umpires can call timeout if they think there's a discontinuance of play.
1 hop to Renteria by Furcal, and Furcal is thrown out. Furcal has scored Atlanta's run after singling and stealing a base in the 1st inning, but Danny Herron and the Cardinals retire him here. 2 down in the 3rd. But I mean, it just makes the Braves look really bad.
Yeah.
Because I mean, nobody had the presence of mind to just go ahead and call timeout after the catch was made. I mean, is that normally what you do there?
No, I think it's old school, is that the bag belongs to the second baseman. That's the second baseman's job. That is your ball. That's to protect second base.
Okay.
Whether that runner's that's walking over toward third or whatever, it's your job to protect second base. At least that's the way I was taught. You know, it's like when a runner's at first and third and the ball is thrown back to the pitcher, you automatically go toward second base to protect second base. That's the way I was taught.
But should he have called timeout, or should he just gone to second base?
I think he should have just gone to second base.
Okay. So
you know,
that doesn't matter if anybody calls timeout or not.
Right. Just protect second base. That's your position.
Don't start walking out toward right field.
You're a second baseman. Well, again, that's the way I was taught. I'm not going to say that he was taught the same way, but that's the way that I was taught. That second base belongs to me. Well, that's my responsibility.
If I'm a young ball player, and I'm presented with that situation,
that's your job.
Okay, if I'm the second baseman, just
it's the second baseman. That's your job. Protect second base.
And Thomas is thrown out. 3 up and 3 down. Danny Herron on a roll. Top of the order for the Cardinals coming up. Here we go now to the fourth inning. The top of the order up for the Cardinals with Tony Womack. And he takes a called strike from John Thompson. Womack got an infield single in the first inning. And then in the second inning, he hit the ground ball to third. And then the plate was made. The bases were loaded at that time. Chipper Jones, the third baseman, threw home for a force out. And then Estrada, trying to double up the speedy Womack at first, threw the ball down the right field line. A run scored in that play, and Womack ended up at second, although he got credit for no RBIs. He takes a ball high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Larry Walker and Albert Pujols will follow here in the fourth inning. 6-1, the Cardinals lead. And Giles throws out Womack. There is one away. Danny Herron going tonight in place of Chris Carpenter, who has some back problems, and Chris Carpenter standing by with our Reese Davis.
And John, it's only the second time this year the Cardinal starters missed his turn in the rotation. Chris, not quite able to go tonight, but how's the back feeling?
It feels good. I went out and threw on the side today, and everything feels good.
Now, Tony La Russa did set forth a condition under which you could have started the game tonight. What was that?
That was if I came to the field doing backflips, but I don't think I was going to attempt doing that.
Could you do a backflip, though?
I don't think so.
Not under any circumstance?
Not under any circumstances.
If this race had been tighter in the National League Central, would you have been able to pitch?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I came in today, and I threw about 75 pitches in the pen, and everything felt great, so I think I would have been able to go.
Dan Herron able to get a little offensive help here, too, that we're getting visitors, too, from your fellow pitchers. How much does it help a young pitcher like that to have a nice cushion to work with?
I think it was big for him. I think, you know, after that first inning, you go out and get some runs, and he was able to settle down and get some outs and have take some of that pressure off of him.
So you might have noticed the signs behind Chris here. The Cardinal pitcher's trying to greet Jeff Supine, who was allowed to fly back to St. Louis early because he's got to start against the Reds tomorrow night in Busch. So he deserted you guys, right?
Yeah, he did. He got to leave early, and there's one up here that says you better win. That's one of the things that he has to do if he gets to fly ahead. So.
And the what's up pond, not pan, not Supine, it's Supine.
It's Supine, not pan. Just remember that.
And Chris Carpenter says he'll be ready to go in his next start, guys.
All right, Jeff Supine will be starting tomorrow night on ESPN. The Monday night baseball game, the Reds at the Cardinals. There'll be some sluggers in that one with guys like Adam Dunn and all these
Willie Moe
Payne, and he's been doing some big time swinging, hasn't he? And that's a ball too low to Albert Pujols, who is an infield single, and he's lined out to right center. Brandon Clausen tomorrow night. That game actually on ESPN 2, The Deuce, at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, 4 Pacific. Brandon Clausen versus Jeff Supine. So we don't say Supine. We know it's Supine. Supine in his last start had 8 scoreless innings against Florida, gave up only 2 hits. I think that was the game they won 1-0. And the night before, they got only 2 hits in a 10-inning game against Florida, and they won that one 2-1. The 2 hits were home runs. Pujols hit one, and then Edmonds hit one in the 10th inning. Chipper Jones has to wait for that big hop. His only play is over to first in time. Pujols retired. And Larry Walker, who had walked, gets over to second. And now Scott Rowland will come up. The look from down the left field line. Rowland hit one over the center field wall his last time. His 27th homer. That gave him 100 RBIs. He leads the National League once again in that category, moving ahead of Vinny Castilla of Colorado. Here's the home run he hit back in the second.
Fastball, belt high, out over the plate, and he just hit it straight away. Didn't try to pull it.
He's got a runner in scoring position at second. He's got 2 RBIs already. We're in the 4th. He had moved away, but this time the plate umpire declined to call timeout. That pitch counted, but it was called a ball.
And I think you should. I mean, again, I don't think you should stop a pitcher once he already starts, you know, 3/4 of his delivery to the plate.
Just because the hitter asks for time, the umpire is not obligated to grant timeout. 1-0 the count. Center field again. Andrew Jones going way back, and that ball is another home run. Scott Rowland with his second homer. It gives him 4 RBIs. 102 batted in for the year. 8-1 St. Louis.
Well, that pitch doesn't work. This pitch is probably the same area that the last one was. Now watch where this one is. Same area. About belt high, a little bit lower, and he just rips it to right center field. This one, the other one was straight away. That one is a little more off to the right field side.
Curveball to Edmonds for a strike. So Rowland, who struck out with 2 men on in the first inning, has since then knocked in 4 runs. And all after saying that he would not happy with the way he'd been swinging the bat lately. 1 ball, 1 strike to count, and that one sinks down and away to Jim Edmonds, who has struck out and grounded out to short. So Scott Rowland, the great year for Rowland continues. Now 28 homers, 102 batted in. Tejada of the Orioles was leading the American League at the start of the day with 106 RBIs.
Man, he's good.
And David Ortiz of the Red Sox had 105 at the start of the day. And there's Juan Cruz, the former Cub, now warming up in the Atlanta bullpen. Cardinals leading the Braves 8-1, 4 unearned runs in the second, and Edmonds fouls one back out of play. The Braves in the Eastern Division started today with an 8-game lead over the Phillies, 9 over Florida. Florida came from behind 2 in the 9th and 2 in the 10th in Milwaukee to beat the Brewers, and a game the Marlins really needed, and they need a lot more of them too. They've really struggled. And the Phillies were beaten for the 3rd day in a row by the San Francisco Giants, who went into the beautiful new Citizens Bank Park there at Philly and swept the Phillies over the weekend. And the Phillies are right at 500, as are the Marlins. So Atlanta still way ahead of both of them, regardless of the outcome of this game. And down goes Jim Edmonds. 8-1 Cardinals. When we come back, we'll get information from the studio on some of the highlights of that Giants-Phillies game today. Stay tuned.
Keith Russell in ESPN's baseball studios. Lamisil fast on their feet. Highlight of the day. Giants-Phils. Pedro Feliz. Double trouble. Former Phil Ricky Ledee is in. Phils lose their 4th straight. Giants win their 4th straight. They're tied with the Cubs and Pods for the NL wildcard lead.
All right, so the Braves coming up here in the 4th inning. Meanwhile, Marcus Giles, if that ball is fair, it is a foul ball into the bullpen. If it had been fair, he would have had enough distance for a home run. But that's not the kind of a night the Braves are having right now. They're trailing 8-1. Marcus Giles knocked in the Braves' first run when they actually took a short-lived lead in the first inning. He doubled, bouncing one over the wall in deep right center. This guy get a hit.
Yeah, he's a good hitter.
The Giles family produces hitters. Did he swing?
Yes.
Apparently he did. He gets the word, so he is thrown out at first base.
The home plate umpire called that. He didn't ask for any help.
So Danny Herron, and as you mentioned, La Russa was hoping that his ball club would get some runs early for Herron's benefit, and ever since they scored those 6 runs in the second, I mean, he's been outstanding.
Well, it takes a lot of the pressure off. You know you can make a mistake now, whereas in a 1-1 ball game, 0-0, you can't make any mistakes.
Chipper Jones, he grounded out to first his first time. Fastball just misses outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Danny Herron, one of the top prospects out of the Cardinals farm system. Last year they had so many problems with their starting rotation that they brought up Herron ahead of schedule, and he ended up making 14 starts last year. Herron is from Southern California, went to the USC. That ball is hit a mile down the line, hooking off the foul pole. A home run for Chipper Jones. And that's 3 in 2 days for Chipper. He hit 2 yesterday. And in his career, Chipper Jones now has 1,000 runs batted in.
And that's a good way to get it. So your 1,000th RBI comes on the 299th home run. That's pretty cool.
And there's ball one to Johnny Estrada. 8-2 now.
So 299 career home runs and 1,000 RBIs.
His 19th home run this year, 57th run batted in. He's got that streak of 8 straight 100 RBI years. And if he continues that streak this year, that means he'll have had a fabulous finish. And the way he's going in the last few days, maybe he'll do it.
Well, when I talked to him before the game, that was his hope, that he could, you know, kind of put the team on his shoulders and carry it down the stretch. And he's doing a good job of that right at this moment.
Last year, he finished up with 42 RBIs in the last 2 months of the season. And he ended up with 106 RBIs. There, now that was a tough looking pitch. That looked like a splitter. 2 down.
Yeah, he does have a good splitter. And there's a fastball from Heron. Kind of trying to go up and in, and they didn't get it up enough or in enough. It's the danger of pitching a good hitter inside. If you miss by 6 inches, you can hit it 300, 400 feet.
I mean, that home run, now that was a connoisseur's delight.
Yeah, high and deep.
I mean, when you hit one that high and then it hits that high off the foul pole, that's a big fly.
Big fly.
I'd like to have seen how far it would have gone if it hadn't hit the foul pole. Julio Franco dribbles one back to Heron. And that's the inning. The Braves get a run on the home run by Chipper Jones, but the Cardinals have the big lead, 8-2 after 4. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by McDonald's. Tonight we're at Turner Field in Atlanta. The rubber match of a 3-game series between two of the hottest ball clubs on the planet. The Lowe's home team advantage, and it's been all Braves in the rivalry between these two ball clubs since Turner Field opened. The Braves 23-7 against the Cardinals here, including a victory here yesterday. But they are down 8-2. It will be a great story to tell if they add to that win total here tonight, since they're already down 8-2. And here is Juan Cruz, acquired for the Cubs during spring training, hard-throwing right-hander. I mean, he's very slender, very slight of build, but he just threw a 97-mile-an-hour fastball to Edgar Renteria.
With movement, with some sinking action on it.
Cruz, 48 strikeouts in 47 2/3 innings, and a high slider fouled back. 0-2 the count. Cruz is 25 years old, from the Dominican Republic. Always was really considered a disappointment in Chicago because he had such a great arm, such great promise. 0-2 the count. That's a foul off the right field line. I know we talked to John Schuerholz about the Braves and their theories of pitchers that they bring here, and I hope we have a chance to play you John Schuerholz's comment about why they make some of the moves they make with pitchers that they do bring in here. For instance, Jarrett Wright. This guy was a total reclamation project, and he's one of the hottest pitchers around now. He's won 9 consecutive decisions. And it's the first time in 7 years that Jarrett Wright has really put everything together again since he was in that 1997 World Series. And Cruz thought he had that one over the corner for a strike. Let's take a look and see what K-Zone feels about that pitch.
Well, that one's just a little bit outside. Maybe a couple of 3 or 4 inches off the plate.
Well, this time Renteria swings. The bat flies out of his hands. Strike 3, 1 away. Well, John Schuerholz, the general manager of the Braves, talked about the Braves pitching tradition.
When we make our decisions on bringing pitchers in, pitchers, especially veteran pitchers who might be struggling, might not be on their game at the moment, we do it with the knowledge that this is the healthiest pitching environment that exists in Major League Baseball, in our view. The job that Bobby Cox and Leo Mazzoni do in creating that pitching environment has proven itself over a long period of time.
And I think that's great confidence in the people that work for him. But as he also said, it's not just confidence, it's proven itself out over a great period of time.
Well, I've always said that I thought, Leo Mazzoni, I don't think there's a better pitching coach anywhere that deals with the pitchers, deals with his staff, and knows how to get them back on track than Leo Mazzoni. I mean, when you sit and talk to him, I mean, he tries to simplify things, but he knows how to get to a pitcher. He knows how to make him understand what they want from him about pitching and how they want to go about setting a hitter up. And it's very simple. I mean, they use the fastball to set up every other pitch that they have, and they throw a lot of fastballs.
And that's a fastball at the knees to Reggie Sanders at 97 miles an hour.
They throw the fastball, then they change up off the fastball. They throw a few sliders here and there and curveballs. But basically, they use the fastball and change speeds on it with movement.
1-2 the count to Sanders, who's had a single and a walk and a steal. 1-2. Fastball away at 98 miles an hour. 2-2.
One of the great things about both of these teams, John, if you look at them, with Tony La Russa, Bobby Cox at the top of each one. Dave Duncan has been with La Russa all these years. Leo Mazzoni has been with Bobby Cox. And they have both been very successful with these two coaches.
That slider under the short for Kyle. Throws out Sanders. 2 down. Now let's get an update. Here's Keith Russell in the studio.
Lamisil fast on their feet. Highlight of the day. Pods Reds. Adam eating them up on the mound and at the plate. 2 for 2, 2 doubles, 2 runs scored. San Diego wins 7-2. Tied with the Cubs and Giants for the NL wildcard lead. Guys, back to you.
All right, Keith, and the wild card division this time of year, a 4th division emerges in addition to the Eastern, the Central, and the Western. The wild card division, and certain teams that are just way out in their own division, they move into the wild card division.
Well, and the great thing, John, is I think the reason that it's so important is the last couple of world champions have been wild card winners.
It's a strike on the outside to Matheny. 0-2.
Speaking of Tony La Russa, I guess he's going to join us after the break.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Before the Braves come to bat in the last of the inning, between innings, we're going to chat with Tony La Russa live from the St. Louis dugout.
And a couple of weeks ago, we chatted with him in San Francisco, and they were losing. So maybe Tony will be in a little better mood. I think Tony's a great guy. I mean, he puts his game face on once the game starts, and it doesn't come off till it ends.
Strong inning from Juan Cruz. 8-2, the Cardinals lead. When we come back, Cardinals manager Tony La Russa will visit with us from the dugout. Cardinals 8, Braves 2. We go to the last of the 5th inning, and we are very pleased to welcome Tony La Russa, the Cardinal manager, from the Cardinal dugout. And Tony, many thanks for coming on with us.
And Tony, a little better situation than you had a couple of weeks ago when we talked to you. But we were talking before the game, and you were mentioning, Herron. Do you think getting the runs early helped him to relax here?
Well, probably, Joe. And pitching with the lead is not the easiest thing because you got to throw strikes, but they can't be strikes down the middle. But one thing about him, he's not experienced enough for this situation, but he's definitely tough enough.
Tony, in the 3rd inning, Reggie Sanders surprised everybody in the stadium, taking second base after that foul out to the first baseman. Tell us about that.
Well, he just he saw it wasn't time, wasn't called. He had guys dropping their heads, and he got into scoring position. Actually, Danny swings the bat pretty good. Hit a ground ball to short, but we really stress base running. A lot of guys that run the bases with really good sense. That's one of our assets.
And that's not the only extra base he took here tonight.
No, when Edgar went to 3rd base on a base hit to left field, he fouled into 2nd. Really helped set up that crooked number.
All right, Tony, many thanks for coming on with us between innings like this.
Sure.
All right, talk to you.
Tony La Russa, we're going to let him get back to work now. I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And we always appreciate greatly when a manager agrees to chat with us between innings. And we always make sure that he gets back to manage the game in time. The batter is Andrew Jones facing Danny Herron. Andrew just out of the reach of Tony Womack, and Andrew is 2 for 2, his 2nd single. Fans, log on to MLB.com to follow baseball live on the web with MLB.com's real-time stats, game day audio, and MLB.tv.mlb.com, where baseball is always on. Joe, in the hotel room when I was getting ready for this game this afternoon, I watched the Giants-Phillies game on my computer from the hotel room on MLB.com. Do you have any questions for me about that game? Feel free to ask. Mark DeRosa takes a called strike. DeRosa grounded into a double play his last time.
I must admit, John, I was watching the PGA and the Olympics today. I was actually watching basketball.
Pretty good basketball game, was it?
Well, if you're from Puerto Rico, it is. It was a good game. Actually, Jose Oquendo was teasing Mitchell Page about the fact that the U.S. lost to Puerto Rico today. Puerto Rico played great. USA didn't play as well as they can, I hope. I hope they can play better.
You know, I remember when the Milwaukee Bucks played the Soviet national team before an NBA season started, and everybody was very worried because the Bucks were still in training camp. You know, they hadn't even started their season yet. They had some guys not even in camp yet. And I remember tuning in that game. It was late, you know, about midway through the fourth quarter, and they were ahead 100-50. Whatever happened to those days, Joe?
Well, the rest of the world is caught up with us, and a lot of the guys are playing in the NBA. That's the torch, Olympic torch.
The Olympic torch for the 1996 Olympic Games, which were many events, including the opening ceremonies, occurred right here in what is now Turner Field, the home of the Atlanta Braves. They had an ingenious way of turning this Olympic stadium into a baseball-only stadium after the Olympic Games were finished up. DeRosa behind second. Womack gets one and gets two. Another double play. Two down. Nobody on, and let's go to Reese Davis. Reese?
John, you guys were talking about the Olympics, and it was just 8 summers ago when the Olympic Games were played here in Atlanta. A more memorable American moment was Michael Johnson's sweep of the 200 and 400 meters, and as he came down the stretch to take gold, he was running through left field, just between where third base and shortstop would be, the finish line roughly where the infield dirt would start. But not many remnants here to commemorate what Michael Johnson did.
Well, that's a good point, and it was an amazing thing when you saw the Olympic Stadium for those Olympics in '96, wondering how they were going to convert it into a baseball facility, but they did. They did a great job. Did so very nicely. They removed 35,000 seats from the Olympic Stadium, and it's now the entrance to Turner Field out beyond center field.
John, all of my memories here really kind of revolve around the hammer, Hank Aaron. And actually, I talked to him yesterday because I was hoping he'd be in town and come on the air with us. But he's in Milwaukee with his Chasing the Dream Foundation and doing some charity work there, so he wasn't able to join us tonight. But he said if he's in town when we're back in 2 weeks, that he would come up and join us on the broadcast. So I look forward to that in a couple of weeks and hope that Hammer's back in town.
We will be here in 2 weeks for the Giants and Braves. Barry Bonds here in Atlanta against the Braves. And this was April the 8th, 1974, number 715. He hit it against the Dodgers. Al Downing over the left center field wall. And Henry Aaron at that moment became the most prolific home run hitter in the history of the game.
And I was sitting at home watching that on television. Now, you were probably somewhere doing a baseball game.
I was in Kansas City.
See, you didn't get a chance to see it. I saw 715. In fact, I was sitting there helping push it out of the ballpark.
Hey, I've seen it at least 1,000 times.
There's the monument to 715.
That's
over there at the old,
roughly the spot where it left the ballpark at the old Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, as Juan Cruz muscles up, and he has an extra base hit against Danny Herron. The first hit of the year for Juan Cruz.
Well, right in the middle of the plate, and he kind of drills it. They're playing him around the right field, and he hits it out the left field. We talked about him having a slender frame, John. He runs like a greyhound. Look at him. He was ready to let it go. He was going to go to third. And, you know, we're going to be here in 2 weeks, and guess what? We get a chance to talk to Barry and Hank Aaron. Barry, who's chasing Hank on the career home run list.
So I'm just trying to stay in the moment, Joe.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just trying to stay right here tonight and concentrate on this game.
Well, that's what Tony La Russa says he's doing. So.
Rafael Furcal, he went around in that swing. The count is 0-2. Next week, and I'm concentrating on next week's game, too.
Oh, okay.
I'm concentrating on this moment and next week's game.
All right.
Which is the Red Sox and the White Sox from Chicago next Sunday, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. So that's it. Just this game and next Sunday.
Okay.
2 weeks we'll be back here in Atlanta for the Giants and Braves, although I'm not concentrating on that one.
Well, since I have a little more foresight than you do, I'm going to go ahead and, you know, tell the people that Barry Bonds will be here, and hopefully Hank Aaron will be here, and we'll get a chance to talk to both of them.
J.D. Drew probably be back in the lineup.
Yeah.
1-2 the count before count next Sunday, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, from the south side of Chicago. The White Sox took 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox this weekend at Fenway Park. The White Sox, who are 4.5 back of Boston in the American League wild card race. In fact, Boston and Texas and Anaheim are all in a virtual tie for. In fact, Boston and Texas are in a tie for the wild card lead, and Anaheim in a virtual tie with those other two. That one is through, base hit. And Juan Cruz, who runs like a greyhound, will score easily. It's 8-3, St. Louis.
And I know what Yogi Berra says about this time. It's never over till it's over. So, you know, the Braves have a lot of innings left. They have a lot of outs to play with.
Now Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, goes out to talk to the young right-hander, Danny Herron.
That's a fastball that Furcal just gets around on and pulls in the hole. Furcal's having a good year. I mean, he's a good hitter. Started tonight hitting .283, and he has a couple of base hits in this ball game.
And he's been hot lately too. Furcal hitting .345 before tonight in the month of August, and he's 2 for 3 tonight. Talking to Albert Pujols. One of the Braves fans are back in this ball game now. They're chopping.
Yeah.
Steve Klein up in the bullpen now for the Cardinals. As Charles Thomas takes ball 1. Thomas is 0 for 2 in this one against Herron. And back to the screen.
John, a lot of people say that you have to have a lot of talent to win. You have to have, the manager can only win if he has the horses. And that's true, but those horses need good jockeys. And I think Tony La Russa and Bobby Cox has proven that they are good at, you know, helping the team win championships. And I think that sometimes we overlook that. We just say that Bobby's had a lot of talent.
There goes Furcal. Matheny with a quick throw. Safe. Really quick and accurate throw by Matheny.
Well, good job by Bobby Cox. This is what we're talking about. I mean, hey, this is not over. If we can steal one more here, steal one someplace else, let's do it. Instead of sitting back and waiting for the 3-run homer, he's trying to make things happen. And that's why he's a good jockey. He and La Russa, they get the most out of the teams that they have, and that's what you want from a manager.
I'm interested now that you're doing these equestrian.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Olympics.
Analogies.
You know, the Olympics. They have equestrian in the Olympics, you know, all that stuff.
I feel like I should have, you know, made a couple of bets at the $2 window or something before the game. 3-1 the count now to Charles Thomas. Marcus Giles is on deck. But one thing is for sure, I mean, there were a lot of runs here yesterday, and both bullpens got used a lot. And of course, Danny Herron has only made one other start, and he did not last long in that one. He got roughed up by the Cubs. He gave up 10 runs in less than 4 innings as Klein continues to heat up in the bullpen. So, you know, they can get La Russa into his bullpen here early on. We're not even out of the 5th inning yet. I'm sure the Braves will feel like they've got a fighting chance in this one.
And you see Tony in the background checking with Steve Klein in the bullpen to see if he's ready.
Danny Herron, who has not been starting recently, been primarily out of the bullpen. He's thrown 84 pitches tonight. Back in right field and caught by Larry Walker to end the inning. Charles Thomas goes down. Braves add another run. On to the 6th inning, 8-3.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by McDonald's. Brought to you by Wrangler, makers of Wrangler 5-star Relax Fit Premium Quality Denim.
Sunday Night Baseball from Atlanta, where a light rain has begun to fall. Cardinals 8, Braves 3 as we start the 6th inning, and Marlon Anderson pinch hitting for Herron, and a nice catch made in shallow right center by Charles Thomas to take a possible base hit away from Anderson. One away. Now to the top of the order for Tony Womack. Here's Juan Cruz. He has retired 4 in a row since taking over the game from John Thompson. Thompson, who though was betrayed tonight by his defense. 6 runs in the 2nd inning, and 4 were scored as unearned, but really there were errors, and then there were mental mistakes and errors of omission and commission, and it could well have been that none of those runs would have scored.
Correct.
Cardinals have taken 7 extra bases, either on Braves errors and or bad decisions in the field tonight. And that's a ball outside. 2-0 the count to Womack, who's had an infield single.
And John, I promised to tell people why I thought Larry Walker should hit second. He's a left-handed hitter, and with a speedster like Womack on first base, as we'll have here.
Base hit for Womack, and Walker's coming up.
Well, it allows Walker a lot of opportunities to do what he does best, and that's use the entire field. He can try to pull the ball in the hole between first and second and move Womack to third. He can go the other way on a hit and run. He can do a lot of different things. But as a base stealer, you prefer to have a left-handed hitter in the batter's box, because the catcher cannot see down the first base as well, and when you take off, he may not even see you go. So you're better off with a left-handed hitter hitting behind a guy that steals bases to help protect him.
And Womack back to the bag at first.
Because when you have a right-handed hitter up there, obviously the catcher can see the whole field on the right side, see the entire right side, and it helps him to see when you take off.
Well, not many managers have availed themselves of the opportunity to actually have Walker hit in the 2nd spot.
Right.
This is the 6th time he's hit in the number 2 spot since joining the Cardinals. Prior to that, he had started only 1 game in the number 2 spot in the batting order in his career. But that was 15 years ago, which was the 7th game of his major league career.
Well, Tony
from Montreal.
The thing that Tony stressed to me was that, you know, he's a very smart baseball player, which means that he can hit in any of those positions because he knows what it takes to hit second, third, fourth, fifth, or sixth. But, you know, he prefers to hit him second. And again, I think it's because he's left-handed, and that will help Tony Womack when he decides to steal bases.
0-2.
Excellent pitch there by Cruz. He's thrown everything hard so far in this inning and last inning, but then he took a little off of that pitch.
85 miles an hour on that one. 0-2 the count. Pujols on deck. Walker, I asked Walker about the environment in the clubhouse here, and he says this club knows that it's likely to win every day. He says it's such a confident group. He says a whole different atmosphere in the clubhouse than the clubhouse in Colorado, and he said he didn't want to say,
no,
you know, different frame of mind because he liked his teammates in Denver, and he feels there are a lot of winning players there.
Well, I don't think he was being critical, but I mean, let's face it, if you're in a winning environment, it's a lot more, you know, enjoyable than being in a losing environment or in a situation where you're hoping to win. Whereas what he said is the Cardinals expect to win every day they take the field.
He had not really been in a clubhouse that had that kind of expectation every day since he was with Montreal. They get one and not two. Chipper Jones getting the lead runner. Womack at second base. Giles and Womack came together at second base.
I thought Giles stayed in there too long. That was not a double play ground ball. And, you know, he's lucky that a guy like Womack's not going in there trying to hurt him. Now watch where he ends up. You know, it's a slow hit ground ball. Take the one out and get out of the way. He stays there. And again, he's lucky because, you know, Womack goes in low, stays low, and he doesn't, you know, it allows him to jump up in the air and not get hurt.
Giles, who has had serious injuries in each of the last 2 years, and earlier this year suffered a broken right collarbone and put him on the shelf for about 2 months. Last year he was just trying to field a ground ball near second base, and Mark Pryor running to second slammed into him. Albert Pujols, nice pickup by Furcal, and it gets the third out of the inning, forcing Walker at second base. Giles covering. Wow, what a play by Rafael Furcal.
And John Thompson is saying, where was this when I was out there?
Could have used it a little bit earlier. 8-3, the Cardinals lead. Rafael Furcal showing some of that spectacular ability. Giles, Chipper Jones, and Estrada coming up. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by McDonald's. Turner Field in Atlanta. Cardinals leading the East. The Braves, or rather the Cardinals leading the Central. The Braves leading the East. 8-3, though, the Cardinals leading the game as we go to the last of the sixth. The new pitcher is Steve Klein on in relief of Danny Herron. Marcus Giles, first ball swinging. A high foul. And out of play. Giving chase was Larry Walker. Marcus Giles has doubled home run and struck out. He'll be followed by the cleanup hitter, Chipper Jones. And you see Walker head back to right field. You can see there's a little rain falling here in Atlanta. Chipper Jones on deck. Johnny Estrada is due up third. Big 6-run second inning for the Cardinals. That's what turned this game around. And if it wasn't for the fact that it was so unfunny, I guess we could say it was a comedy of errors by Atlanta, both mental and physical. And some we wouldn't call mental errors. You would just say bad decisions.
Bad decisions. But the one thing, you know, and I should have said it at the time, the Braves were ahead 1-0. And again, the way that I was always taught, don't help them out to come back and catch you. Make them earn every run that they get. And therefore, you just take the out at first base, you know, especially if you're playing deep. And at the time, they were not playing in halfway where Giles could have come to the plate. When you're playing deep, it's very difficult to throw somebody out from that deep a position.
2-2 the count to Marcus Giles. And now it's a full count, 3-2. 8 runs, 8 hits for the Cardinals, including 2 home runs by Scott Rowland. Rowland has hit 2 two-run homers. Now with 102 RBIs to lead the National League. Strike 3 called to the outside. A little backdoor slider there.
Right, and I don't think Giles was expecting it with the score being what it is and the fact that he's leading off the inning. You do not want to walk the leadoff hitter of an inning. And he comes with a little breaking ball on the back side of on the outside edge of the plate. I don't know if he could have hit it even if he was looking for it. Great pitch there by Klein. And it's great if you throw it for a strike, but if you miss and walk the leadoff hitter, not such a great pitch.
1 out, Chipper Jones. He homered his last time as a lefty. Now Chipper. That's right-handed. Chipper Jones this year is hitting .271 right-handed, only .225 left-handed. That'll go back out of play. Remember, earlier in his career, he was really good from one side of the plate and not the other. And then Don Baylor came here one year as the hitting instructor. and worked with Chipper Jones. And starting that year, Chipper became a very dangerous hitter and a power hitter from both sides of the plate.
he wasn't as good a hitter power-wise from the right side, and they worked on it.
Along the right field line, Walker on the run. Into a slide, and he made the catch.
With using his entire body, he slid underneath it.
That was some of that old Gold Glove magic from Larry Walker.
And when you talk to Tony La Russa, he always says there's little things in the game that make a difference. And, you know, this could be one of those things, because what happens is, I mean, you don't want to give Chipper Jones another swing. You never know what will happen. You see he's cradling it in his arm.
He never really quite caught it.
But he kept it from hitting the ground.
He must be wearing his sticky jersey tonight. Here's Johnny Estrada. So Walker apparently is wearing the Velcro Cardinal on that jersey tonight. Johnny Estrada 0 for 2. Well, it doesn't matter where you catch it, as long as you catch it.
As long as you keep it from hitting the ground.
That's a base hit for Estrada, another switch hitter. And his first at bat as a right-hander tonight. He gets a base hit.
John, these two teams made a trade in the offseason that really helped both teams. You know, the Cardinals got King and Marquise from the Ray King and Jason Marquis from the Braves, and they've contributed a lot to this Cardinal pitching staff. And the Braves, of course, needed someone to replace Gary Sheffield, and J.D. Drew is the guy they got, and Eli Marrero. They got 2 bats from the Cardinals to help replace Sheffield. So both teams got what they wanted, and both teams have been helped tremendously by both of these by each player, and they're both in first place.
Drew hitting .306 with 26 homers, 69 runs batted in. Stolen 10 bases as well. Played a strong outfield. And with the injuries and or slow starts by a lot of guys earlier this year, it's hard to imagine where the Braves would be without J.D. Drew in the fine season that he's had for them. 2-0 now to Julio Franco. Jason Marquis is 12-4 meanwhile for the Cardinals. He's won 9 straight decisions. Ray King has been a bellwether in that bullpen as a lefty. Adam Wainwright is hurt right now. J.D. Drew and Eli Marrero. Marrero has been hurt a lot, but has done well when he's been healthy. And he's healthy right now as Franco stings one hard into center field.
And, John, go back to what I said. Tony Russo values little plays like the one we saw Larry Walker make. And that took the bat out of Chipper Jones' hand. I mean, you know, and now the Braves get 2 more hits after that. If Chipper would have been allowed to hit, maybe get a base hit or even hit a home run, you know, the Braves right back in business. So that's what Tony La Russa looks at. Little things that keep the other team from scoring on a defensive side. Little things on his team's side offensively to keep a rally going. That keeps the rally going.
There's Tony La Russa.
Well, he's trying to stall here, I think.
So he may have some of the evidence, but we can't see into the bullpen from where we're sitting, into the visiting bullpen. It's hidden from our view. Dave Duncan on the phone to the bullpen. Now the plate umpire, Eric Cooper, is going to go out and hurry them along. Scott Rowland had been out at the mound, stalling for time, and now here comes Duncan. And he's already signaled to the bullpen for whoever it is that's warming up out there. 2 men on, 2 men out. Andrew Jones, a powerful right-handed hitter, coming up. 8-3, the Cardinals are leading. We're in the last of the 6th inning, the rubber match of this 3-game series. We'll be back. Sunday Night Baseball from Atlanta. Cardinals with an 8-3 lead. The Braves, though, with 2 men on and 2 men out. Here's the veteran, Cal Eldred, a one-time starting pitcher with the Milwaukee Brewers. He has resurrected his career after a lot of arm problems in St. Louis. So here's Andrew Jones. He's hit 2 singles, and he takes a called strike knee high on the outside. Fastball in there. That's 0-1.
John, he was a star starter, remember, years ago with Milwaukee. I remember had a great slide piece and good sinking fastball.
He was the big dog.
Yeah, he was. He was the man.
1 strike to count. Right there again. Strike 2. Andrews single in the 2nd, single in the 5th. Tim Drew up in the bullpen for Atlanta. We can see into the Atlanta bullpen, but there's only one of the bullpen mounds in the visiting bullpen we can see. he strikes him out. After 2 fastballs on the outside, it came right after him. That's it. Scott Rowland coming up for the Cardinals. 7th inning, and Juan Cruz has thrown a called strike to Scott Rowland over the outside as the Cardinals come up here. Rowland, Jim Edmonds, and Edgar Renteria coming up. Seems like one of those guys is always coming up for the Cardinals. If it's not Rowland and Edmonds, it's Walker and Pujols. And they got a lot of threats in there.
I'm watching the way they're pitching him, and they're basically pitching him the same way the entire ball game. He's hit 2 home runs. Well, there's the first breaking ball he's thrown him.
He's hit a couple of fastballs out away from him.
And the
he's
first
got
pitch,
those arms extended.
First pitch this at bat was a fastball away, and then another fastball. That's the first slider that they've thrown him.
2-1 the count. That's a slider, bounced foul. These are the home runs. The first one capped off that 6-run 2nd inning with 1 man on.
Fastball away, out over the plate, about bell tie.
Then in the 4th inning with 1 on.
Identical pitch, only this one gets more of the plate. That one's pretty much in the middle of the plate.
Now rolling into right field. And Charles Thomas, this one stays in the yard.
Well, that was a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. I guess they figured that he couldn't handle that one.
Center fielder Jim Edmonds.
So 1 down, and here's Jim Edmonds. Edmonds has struck out twice and grounded out once. 8-3, the Cardinals lead. The Braves go from here to San Diego. They play in San Diego tomorrow night. The Cardinals go from here home to St. Louis, and they'll play the Reds in St. Louis tomorrow night, which will be seen on ESPN2. Jeff Suppan will go for the Cardinals, and apparently he's already home, or he's on his way home. Maybe sleeping by now.
Well, he's probably having dinner and relaxing with his family.
Suppan and Aaron Harang in Busch Stadium tomorrow night. And that's a ball up and away. 2-0 the count. Ken Griffey Jr. out for the year.
Yeah, that's I really felt bad about that because he had just gotten back to the top of his game, and then he gets hurt just before the All-Star game.
Nice pitch right on the outside. 2-1 the count now to Jim Edmonds with 1 out and nobody on here in the 7th.
And I try to call him, but I haven't been able to get through to him.
Three and 1 the count. Well, Griffey, I was there the night he came back from the disabled list, and they put him in right field at SBC Park in San Francisco because his manager Dave Monty thought he wouldn't have to run as much as in center field. Well, in that ballpark, right field is where you have to do all the running.
And he made a great sliding catch.
Well, he was running all over right field the first 4 innings of that game, and plus his first at bat, he beat out an infield hit that night. So it goes for Ken Griffey Jr. We can only hope that he'll recuperate and get back in there next year.
Well, the one thing I do know that he will hang tough. He'll come back next year, you know, and work hard over the winter and be prepared as he was this year to go out and have a good season. And hopefully he will stay healthy next year. And I actually came to the game the next day to see him there in San Francisco.
This is to Furcal. And the bad throw, and they get nobody. Edmonds safe at second. Renteria over to first.
When he made a great play earlier, you know, an inning or so ago, he straightened up and threw the ball overhand to second base, which is not normally what you do from that position. Now watch from this position, he turns and throws again, and a lot of times you see a guy backhand this ball. Now watch why he tries to throw it again. See, he tries to throw it over the top instead of backhanding it. You know, a lot of guys backhand the ball from that position. You know, like a sidearm backhand throw.
Yeah.
It's much easier than trying to get up on top and control it from that short a distance.
All right, so
see, you throw it this way because you can control it. When you get up on top and you're moving, it's hard to throw it. But from this position, you see most second basemen, they feed the shortstop this way, and the shortstop from behind second should feed him the same way.
But I mean, you need to work on that, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he does do it because, I mean, it's just, now watch. See, right there, throw it sidearm. See, he turns and tries to throw it over the top. The toughest throw is overhand, to be accurate with in a short distance like that.
So that
and it looked like he was going to do it sidearm, then he decided to go over the top. So I don't know exactly why.
Third Atlanta error of the night, the 97th error for the Braves this year. That's the third worst error total in the National League. They've allowed 4 unearned runs tonight. There's a ball down and away to Reggie Sanders. For Cobb, by the way, has made 21 errors this year. Sanders tonight has singled, walked, and grounded out, and he's taken a couple of extra bases with opportunistic base running. 2-0 the count. He got the second hit as the second batter in that 6-run second inning. Popped up, foul.
And he had a good swing at that pitch.
Julio Franco ran out of room going after that one. 2 balls and a strike now. The Braves, since June the 26th, are 33-10. So they've not been playing like this.
No.
For the last couple of months.
I mean, they had 3 pitchers that went undefeated in July, so you know they weren't making mistakes like this.
Yeah. And the same 3 are still undefeated.
Yeah. In
this
August.
far into August. Yeah. Russ Ortiz, Jared Wright, and Mike Hampton. But the Cardinals, since June 26th, are 31-11. Braves 33-10. That's a foul ball. The other team that's had a hot stretch since that time, the Dodgers, 31-13. Although they lost today, so 31 no, they won today.
Yeah, they beat the
32-13.
And you have to give the Dodgers a lot of credit because a lot of the players, media, everybody was upset with the trade that was made at the deadline, but they did not let it affect them. They continued to play hard. They continued to play well, and you have to give Jim Tracy, the manager, a lot of credit for that. But they've done a great job of playing well, even though they weren't happy at the time with some of the trades.
I think they've only had, what, 3 or 4 losses since they made the first big trade. And they, in that trade, Guillermo Mota, their 8th inning man in front of Gagne, was traded. They had not lost a ball game that they'd led after 7 innings all year. They've lost 2 games now.
There have been a couple of games.
But had it not been for those 2 games, they would hardly have lost at all since that time. I mean, they're winning day in and day out.
Oh, good fastball.
Reggie Sanders down on strikes.
98 miles an hour on the radar gun.
2 down with 2 on, and Matheny coming up. Fans, log on to MLB.com to follow baseball live on the web with MLB.com's real-time stats, game day audio, and MLB.TV.MLB.com, where baseball is always on. A lot of dots in that last one. Here's Matheny. He is 0 for 3.
Man, he's just reaching back, letting it go.
He got the hard cheese working there.
Some real hard cheese.
Dennis Eckersley.
Yeah.
That was
some high cheese, too.
Like the high cheese from the get-go. 0-1 the count to Matheny. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Matheny, who knocked in the first run for the Cardinals with runners at first and third, with some very fine situational hitting.
Correct.
A ground ball to the second baseman. Should have resulted in an out, but instead it resulted in nobody out. It was even better than Matheny ever could have imagined when he hit the ball to second. 1-2 the count. Cal Eldred on deck. We're in the 7th inning. The Cardinals leading the Braves 8-3. And Juan Cruz has helped slow down the Cardinals since he came in. 2 2/3 innings so far. But he's got Edmonds at second, Renteria at first. Right field, Charles Thomas coming on. He's got it. And he almost did not get there on that one. 3 shutout innings for Cruz. When we come back, the Braves coming up, and we'll also check in with Albert Pujols and Joe. Cardinals lead the Braves 8-3 as we play here in the last of the 7th inning now. Albert Pujols, his first 4 seasons in the big leagues, have us comparing him with some of the greatest who've ever played the game. Joe caught up with him before the game.
When you first come to the big leagues, your talent kind of gets you through the first year, and you had great talent, so you had a great year.
Thank you.
What have you learned, you know, since that time that makes you the great player that you are today?
Well, just a lot of little things that people, you know, as my age doesn't understand. It's just to be patient at the plate, to learn from other players, you know, and things like that. Like, you know, when we play Colorado or Chicago, I try to pick the top 3 players, like I told you before. And just little things that you look that they do, you know, even when I'm in defense, I still look Chipper Jones, you know, Julio Franco, still 45 years old, but he's one of the best hitters that came out from the Dominican Republic. And just little things that he does, you know, when he's hitting that I can pick at it. And it doesn't matter what kind of talent you are. If you don't make an adjustment in this league, the league is going to get you.
And I think that's the key, that he made adjustments from his first year. Now he knows exactly what everybody's doing to him, every at-bat, etc. And he just makes adjustments. I mean, he's such a great hitter, and he's going to get better. I think that's the scary part, that he feels like he still has a ways to go. And he says he watches Barry Bonds and all the other great hitters, and he learns from them, and he takes away some of their, some of the positive things that they do and inserts it into his own games.
Mark DeRosa leading off for Atlanta, and on a 2-0 pitch, he whacks a base hit to left field. That's his first hit of the game after grounding into 2 double plays. And now Adam LaRoche is going to come up as a pinch hitter for Juan Cruz, who gave the Braves 3 scoreless innings. He did a very fine job, giving the Braves at least an opportunity to cut into this commanding Cardinals lead while he was in there. So here is LaRoche, the son of a former big league pitcher. LaRoche, who has had injury problems this year, hitting .248, 7 homers, 25 batted in. He takes high and tight for ball 1. Albert Pujols, I mean, his first 4 years harken back to, say, Joe DiMaggio's first 4 years. I mean, just spectacular, his production in his first 4 seasons, as you saw Tom Martin getting ready in the Atlanta bullpen. A check swing and a foul, an inadvertent foul by LaRoche there. Here's a look at who's gaining power, brought to you by Gillette M3 Power. The all-time record for home runs in the first 4 seasons of a career is Hall of Famer Ralph Kiner. Eddie Matthews, another Hall of Famer, second on that list, and Albert Pujols at 149 and counting. He still has 46 more games after tonight to add to his first 4-year total. So
there's Eddie.
He's got an excellent shot of moving ahead of Eddie Matthews, at least, in to second place all time. That's just for home runs. Forget batting average and RBIs and all the other things he's done. Back to the screen by LaRoche. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes to Adam LaRoche.
John, my rookie year, Eddie Matthews came and played for the Astros a while, and I saw him hit his 500th home run. And he hit it in Candlestick Park against Juan Marichal. That's when I realized 500 was a special number.
Eddie Matthews, one of the great sluggers of all time. And what a combination he and Henry Aaron made for a long, long time. 1-2 to LaRoche. He continues to battle it out here with Eldred as Pujols plays on the bag at first with DeRosa. Jim Edmonds, who had a spectacular month of July. Home runs, RBIs. 1-2 the count. Tapped slowly past the mound. Womack in time to get LaRoche.
A smart base running there by DeRosa. Just run through, and instinctively you're going to stop if you're the second baseman and let him go past. You're not going to run in his path. Now watch what happens here. Womack charges the ball, but LaRoche, you see how he has to stop because he doesn't want to get run over by DeRosa, and that allows DeRosa to get to second base, and he gets the runner at first. If he waits, then he can turn and just flip to second and get the lead runner.
Rafael Furcal, 2 for 3 in the game. 1 ball and no strikes, runner at second. But now the number of outs the Braves have left to them is starting to dwindle. If they're going to make a move, they're going to have to start making it. Although, you know, runs can be scored in bunches, but I don't recall offhand too many Cardinal games where they've blown a 5-run lead in the 9th inning. Rafael Furcal over the last 10 days hitting .429. And he's 2 for 3 tonight, so that's going up. And that will get DeRosa over to third base. One in the dirt and the wild pitch. Now the Braves have a runner at third base with 1 out.
And John, one of the things I talked to Tony La Russa about today, I interviewed him before the game, is his game face. You know, Tony looks like he's never having fun. He's always concentrating. He has that game face on from the time the game starts till it's over. And, you know, he basically says to me he's never comfortable there. He said even when he has a lead, he said he never thinks that the game is over. And he's still thinking about how to get through the 9th inning.
That's in there for a called strike. 3-1 the count now. 2 for Kyle. Charles Thomas on deck. 8-3. The Cardinals lead. They get 6 runs in the second and 2 more in the fourth. The last 4 of their runs on 2 2-run homers by Roland. And that's a walk. Again, we have a difficulty seeing into that Cardinal bullpen. So we're not sure what kind of activity they might have going on out there. Apparently, we're told Julian Tavares, a right-hander, is warming up in La Russa's bullpen. And now Dave Duncan's going to go out to the mound to talk to Cal Eldred. Meanwhile, here's an update from the studio with Keith Russell.
The White Sox, Red Sox, Carlos Lee adding new meaning to the term jump off. 6 for 12 in the series at Fenway with 2 home runs. Chicago wins 5-4. They trail Boston, Anaheim, and Texas by 4.5 for the AL wildcard lead.
All right, we'll see those White Sox who have lost 2 of their biggest sluggers, Frank Thomas and Maglio Ordonez, and still they have other sluggers. A lot of talent in that ball club. In the American League wild card, Red Sox, Angels, and Angels, Red Sox, Rangers, and Angels. Right there at the top, Cleveland 2.5 out. The White Sox 4.5 out. Although Cleveland doesn't fancy itself in the wild card race, they're right there in the Central Division with Minnesota. Charles Thomas, and that one is in there for a strike. Looked like he kind of eased that one through there.
Cleveland actually had a chance to pull into a tie with the Minnesota today, but they lost in 10 innings. And I saw where our buddy Omar Vizquel said he's having the time of his life playing with these young players.
See, he had a 4-hit game. Cleveland leads the American League in offense. I mean, they got all these young players. Travis Hafner and Victor Martinez, the young catcher, who had 89 RBIs going into play today.
And Vizquel is hitting over 300.
It's made Vizquel play like a younger man this year. Casey Blake, Jody Garrett. The Twins won that game, though, so they now have a 2-game lead over the Cleveland Indians. Had Cleveland won it, they'd be tied for first place in the Central. White Sox still lingering, just 4 games out, only 3 in the loss column. Now Renteria gets the out at second,
and that was the only play he had. He'd had no chance at Thomas at first base.
Scoring is DeRosa. An RBI for Charles Thomas on the force out, and even then just barely a force out on the speedy Furcal at second.
Well, he chops the ball right off the home plate, and when a ball goes that high, you have no chance of getting a speedy Thomas at first. But a nice, smart play there by Renteria. Now watch, he knows he has no chance, so he beats Furcal to the bag.
You see a play like that, and you hope that Renteria didn't pull a groin muscle or something. Now here's Marcus Giles. It is 8-4, St. Louis. Braves are cutting into that lead just in little drips and drabs. But now they're, you know, Giles got aboard. You got Chipper Jones up next, who could make it a 1-run game in a hurry.
Well, Giles can also bring you a couple of runs closer with it. His powerful swing as well.
He's not a big guy, but the Giles, there's Chipper on deck. The Giles family, they tend to pack a lot of power in a small-looking package. That one is hammered into right field, but there is Larry Walker. That's the inning. Now on to the 8th inning. The Cardinals 8, the Braves 4 from Turner Field, Atlanta. And there's left-hander Tom Martin. The Cardinals 8, the Braves 4 as we start the 8th inning, and Tom Martin, the former Dodger, On in relief of Juan Cruz, here is Hector Luna, and he takes just off the outside. 1 ball to no strikes. See Martin numbers for the year since coming to Atlanta. Been in 6 games with a 2.25 ERA. And that's up and away. 4 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed, 1 run as a member of the Braves. Luna, Hector Luna. He's only 24 years old. He's from the Dominican Republic. He was a Rule 5 draftee by the Cardinals at the winter meetings last December. And the Rule 5 draftee has to stay in the Major League roster the whole season, or you have to basically offer him
Back at half price.
yeah, the team that you had originally got him from. There's Julian Tavares, who had been warming up for the Cardinals, so maybe we'll see him in the last of the 8th inning, as Luna is the pinch hitter for Cal Eldred. 2-2 the count to Hector Luna. Luna, though, Joe, when you talk to the Cardinals about it, they say this guy, he's not your typical Rule 5 guy. And here they are. He's batting in the 8th inning, and they use him as a regular role player off the bench. He didn't get a whole lot of action, but more than most Rule 5 draftees will get, especially on a pennant contender. Hitting .242, 2 homers, 16 batted in. I mean, he could end up being the shortstop next year if Edgar Renteria were to sign somewhere else. Renteria is a free agent at the end of the year. 2-2 the count. Just got a piece of that one. Or did he? No.
No.
The umpire started to raise his hands as if signaling foul ball, but that was not a signal at all. It was just raising his hands. Strike 3, 1 away. Now to the top of the order, and Tony Womack will come up. Cardinals 8, the Braves 4 in the 8th inning. Cardinals, who've been hot. We mentioned since June 26th, that's when the Braves really turned this season around. Strike 1 with a big curveball to Tony Womack. Womack is 2 for 4. The Cardinals have been hot for almost half a season. 52-18 in their last 70 games. They've been winning about 3 out of every 4 for nearly half the year. That's a foul off the left field line. 0-2 the count. There is Julian Tavares getting up in the bullpen. Our Mars rover has arrived in the. We're getting better pictures from the Mars rover than we've been able to get from the visiting bullpen here. That's the way it is in Japan. Both bullpens are private. In Japan, it's always a big secret as just who is warming up. See, down in the left field corner, that bullpen is tucked around the corner, so you can't see it. For, I guess, to keep snoopy people like us from knowing who's warming up out there. 0-2 to Womack. And that curveball misses for Martin. 1-2. Martin's old ball club, the Dodgers, won today. In fact, Womack, one of his old clubs, the Arizona Diamondbacks, won today.
I think Randy Johnson pitched, didn't he?
14 strikeouts, 1 walk in 8 1/3 innings for the big unit. In New York, Martin throws out Tony Womack, out number 2, and now Larry Walker will come up. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. And Major League Baseball and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America are sending kids to the ballpark in support of childhood cancer research. Tickets are available in every Major League market for a donation of no more than $1 for each ticket. Log on to MLB.com for more information. You could donate more if you chose. But for as little as $1 for each ticket, you can get a ticket at the Boys and Girls Clubs. Log on to MLB.com for more information. The Commissioner's Kids Initiative. Larry Walker takes a called strike. Walker has had a 2-run single and a walk. He is 1 for 3. He scored twice. Just off the outside. You know, Walker's always a guy who's hit for a high average. He's won 3 batting titles, but he also gets a lot of walks. I mean, in terms of just getting on base in front of those big sluggers, he's a great addition right there, hitting second. Martin came after him with a high, hard one. 2-2. Albert Pujols on deck. He would be next. Walker, 5 hits and 13 career at-bats versus Martin. That's a base hit. So Walker's been on base 3 times in 5 trips tonight, and that keeps the inning going for Albert Pujols, the right-handed slugger. The Braves bullpen is busy. Tim Drew, the right-hander, up again. The younger brother of the Braves slugger, J.D. Drew. 8-4 Cardinals in the 8th. Albert Pujols tonight has had an infield single, and that's the only time he's been on base. He has lined out to right center, grounded out to third, and grounded into a force play. Walker back to the bag at first. How about this? Walker, in his first 7 games as a Cardinal, stole 4 bases.
Right. Well, like I said, he fits the Cardinal mold. Defense, offense, speed. I mean, he does everything.
Scott Rowland would be next. Albert Pujols. Curveball. 1 ball to no strikes. Pujols 35 homers, 85 driven in. Against left-handed pitching, Albert Pujols is hitting .392 this year. Scott Rowland .397.
Well, my theory has always been right-handed hitters that hit left-handed pitching best are the guys that stay in the middle of the diamond, left center to right center, and both he and Rowland, that's their spots. They're not pull hitters, so they don't pull off the fastball that's tailing away a little bit.
And the high curveball in there for a strike. 2-1. Pujols hitting well against right-handers. A lot of home runs. .304 average, but .392 against the lefties. That's enough. 7 homers and only 79 at-bats against the lefties. So he actually has a little bit of a better home run per at-bat ratio against the lefties. Here's Larry Walker over at first with Julio Franco. Franco's one of the few guys who makes Walker feel like a kid again. Still active. Inside, and it's a full count. Albert Pujols, who has finished second in the National League MVP voting 2 years in a row.
To whom?
Well, to Bonds.
And when I talked to him today, he had such admiration for Barry. I mean, he really does. He said you just can't fathom how good a player he is and what he does.
Walker runs. Left center field on the run. Andrew Jones looks up. That ball is gone. Albert Pujols. And I'm not sure that Martin understands how he could hit that one out of the yard. A 2-run homer. 10-4 Cardinals.
Well, he threw him a 2-0 curveball that he took, ran a fastball away, then he came back with the curveball again, and because again he's not trying to pull the ball, he stays right on it and hits it in the almost dead center field, a little bit off to the left field side. But again, I just don't think pitchers can go through this lineup 4 times a game without getting much damage bestowed on them. There's a little curveball, and it's a tough curveball. You're right. This is a curveball that just gets the outside edge. But he stays there. You can see him reach out there and extend to get it.
Now Scott Rowland, he takes ball 1. Well, Rowland's numbers are very similar against lefties to Albert Pujols' numbers. Rowland hitting .397 against the lefties.
So that means you better beware if you bring a left-hander in for this lineup.
And maybe bring in the lefty After Pujols and Rolen.
Yeah.
Albert Pujols, his 36th home run, RBIs 86 and 87. I mean, that was just extraordinary hitting right there.
What was extraordinary, John, is like I said, is the plate coverage. I mean, that ball started off the plate outside, broke towards the outside edge, and just barely clipped the outside edge of the plate. And he reached out and got it and hit it into left center field.
I mean, if he dunked one into right field for a single, we would have been saying, hey,
good
great hitting.
Right.
But how he not only made contact, but then hit it out of the yard, out toward the deepest part of the yard. That's amazing.
Well, to me, with him, it's all about his front side, the extension, and I mean, he just stays right there.
Well, no matter how many times you explain it, I'm still going to be amazed. And Rolen gets a walk.
But he actually, the weird part is he pulled off on the 2-1 pitch, which was a fastball away. Now, not only is this, I mean, look how he stays there. I mean, he extends out there to get that pitch way away from him. And Andrew Jones says, well, I can't catch that one.
Yeah. Guy out there in the stands caught it. He wasn't too excited about it. Here's Jim Edmonds. Edmonds is 0 for 3 with a walk. 10-4, the Cardinals lead. Albert Pujols, a 2-run homer. Scott Rolen has had 2 2-run homers. How about these 3 guys, Joe? Pujols, 36 homers, 87 batted in. Scott Rolen, 29 homers, 102 batted in. Jim Edmonds, 31 homers, 80 batted in. The 3 of them have hit 96 home runs with 269 RBIs. Just for the 3 of them. 0-1 the count, and that's outside to Jim Edmonds.
Well, I think Pujols is saying, yeah, I think Pujols is saying, get that game face off of here. We're ahead.
Lighten up, Tony. I mean, Albert, he's 24 years old, right, and doing these amazing things.
As I said, I mean, I think he's just going to get better, and that's scary because, I mean, he understands the batter's box so well and how to handle all types of pitches, and he knows himself so well. He knows how to stay within himself.
Edmonds hits that curveball slowly and foul over to Dave McKay, the first base coach.
John, one of the things that happens last year, you know, when his first year, I should say, when he came up, he hit the ball to all fields. What happens normally to a hitter, especially when he starts hitting home runs, he starts to pull the ball more and more. Your second, third year in the big leagues, you start pulling the ball more. And when you do that, you actually make yourself more vulnerable to pitches away. But Albert says the one thing he made sure he didn't do is start to pull the ball. Now he stays back through the middle more and even goes to right field more than he did his first year, he said. So he knows what he's doing. He's got a great idea about how to approach it. And he says he just still watches Barry and some of the other great hitters, and he learns a lot from them, just watching them play.
Well, you know, I keep wondering, he's still learning.
Yeah.
I mean, how much better is it possible for him to get?
I know. Well, he gave me a batting lesson and made me even think, well, maybe I should go back and try it. I mean, he made it so simple.
Well, the big question is, we know the talent's there, but is he going to be able to stay healthy?
Yeah, good point.
Because the great ones,
yeah,
like Barry Bonds, for instance,
well, Ken
Henry Aaron.
And we're talking about Ken Griffey.
Yeah.
That's the key to everyone's success. You know, longevity is decided by how you hold up under injuries and stuff, how they take their toll over the course of the seasons.
Julian Tavares getting ready to come on in the last half of the 8th inning for the Cardinals, who now lead the game 10-4. Jim Edmonds at the plate. Chipper Jones will be leading off for Atlanta in the last of the 8th. And that is a foul ball. So Edmonds continues to battle it out here with Tom Martin, who has thrown 35 pitches in this inning. Let's go down to our colleague Reese Davis.
John, you guys were talking about Albert Pujols and how he's continuing to learn. Earlier this season, when Albert was in what for him would be a mini slump, his wife was watching tape of him batting and noticed an adjustment he needed to make in his stance. Made the adjustment, took off, started hitting again. So he'll listen to a lot of different sources.
But I don't think he had a choice there.
Well, apparently she knows what she's talking about if she pointed out something that helped him get out of it.
Well, Mitchell Page is normally his hitting coach, but, you know, I met his wife this winter, and she is pretty sharp. I mean, she was into baseball. She enjoys the game a lot.
Well, we enjoy watching Albert Pujols play the game. And Jim Edmonds takes that curveball outside. I mean, Edmonds has been up here for how long? This will be the 11th pitch to Jim Edmonds in this trip to the plate.
Well, if he takes one more pitch, I'm going to wish my sister a happy belated birthday. All right, my sister Linda, it was her birthday, and I didn't forget it, but I didn't wish her happy birthday. But I'm going to wish her a happy birthday. My sister, her age is closest to 9. I won't say how old she is, but happy birthday, Linda. Belatedly.
Well, you didn't forget because you just wished her happy birthday. And that is strike 3 call to Jim Edmonds. After all of that, a 12 pitch at bat, and he's gone. Chipper Jones, the Brave slugger who homered earlier tonight, coming up for Atlanta, 10-4.
Sports Center, from a dream team to a nightmare in Athens, and why Brett Favre is still the man to beat. Plus, when extreme becomes extraordinary. Sports Center after the game on ESPN.
John Miller and Joe Morgan with you. Sunday Night Baseball from Atlanta. The St. Louis Cardinals in the rubber match of this 3-game series with a 10-4 lead as Julian Tavares comes on to pitch now for St. Louis, and he's put together a very nice season for the Cardinals out of the bullpen.
Well, a couple of things you look at: the innings pitched and the hits and the walks. I mean, he's done a good job.
Hard sinker baller, and when things are working well, he'll get a lot of ground balls, and they must have been working well most of this year. He's only allowed 1 home run in 47 2/3 innings. Here's Chipper Jones. If he makes a mistake, Chipper is in one of those grooves right now. He homered a soaring, majestic, aesthetically pleasing home run in the 4th inning. There's Hector Luna. He stays in to play second base after pinch hitting for Eldred, the previous pitcher. Womack's out of the game. Tavares is in the #1 spot in the order.
Well, the one thing that Jones has going for him is Tavares is pretty much a low ball pitcher, and he's a low ball hitter, so that's where he'll be looking.
Julian Tavares been pitching in the big league since 1993. That's a called strike.
Well, I would think that Tavares might be a little afraid to pitch to Chipper. Chipper's 9 for 13 against him with 1 home run. Man.
Well, he got to
talk about owning a pitcher.
He's got a 6-run lead, so it's the perfect time for him.
All right.
Try to conquer his fear. Look at that. Hector Luna. The new guys come into the game with the Cardinals, and immediately they combine to get Chipper Jones out. Joe Morgan got a lesson, a batting lesson, some tips from Albert Pujols before the game. Let's listen in.
When a guy comes up, maybe he'll hit a lot of balls to right center and keep going. But after a couple of years, he starts to pull the ball more. You have never changed your style. It looks like you still stay back through the middle.
Well, that's the idea. You know, if you having success with what you're doing, why you need a change. You know, it doesn't matter if you ain't hit a home run. I mean, I know that I can hit the ball out of the park anyway, right field, center field, left field. So I don't want to create my power. I let my power to happen. You know, just trust my hand, hit the ball in the gap, and I get the chance to talk to Barry Bonds why he became so successful. He said that little things that he wasn't doing when he was young, they helping out. You know, that was hitting lefty. You know, before he don't used to hit lefty. Now he's crushing the lefty. He's hitting like 370, and that's why he hitting 360 the last 5 years. You know, and doing all that. Barry Bonds is a different player. You know, he's unbelievable. I don't think there's anybody that you can compare with that guy. He's the way that he take this game to the level that I think it's gonna be hard to reach.
Well, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And Barry has improved, like he said, staying back through the middle a little bit more. he had trouble with left-handers when he first came up because he'd pull off the lefties. Now he kills left-handed pitching. So he's right. I mean, Barry has made all the adjustments, and again, he knows himself so well. I think that's the key. So I had a hitting lesson from Barry last week when I was in San Francisco, and then I got one from Albert Pujols. I'm thinking about making a comeback.
Barehanded grab there by Tavares, and he throws out Johnny Estrada.
You didn't ignore what I just said, did you?
You're thinking of making a comeback?
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure you heard me.
Yeah, if you ever, to quote Muhammad Ali, if you ever dreamed of making a comeback against big league pitching, you better wake up and apologize.
Well, no, I like my job. I really do. I enjoy this. Sitting here with you every Sunday, I mean, you know, we get to travel to the best cities, have the best food, the best. I mean, we have a good time.
Let's go to Chicago next week.
Okay, yeah, they got great food in Chicago.
Yeah.
And we'll go out. We'll have dinner with Mike, my buddy Mike Alicia in Chicago. We'll all go out and have a nice dinner.
All right, sold.
All right.
Julio Franco, the hitter. Now, here's a guy that Albert could give some hitting instructions to, who could still use it. Franco, 46 years old and still going strong. 287 batting average. And in your earlier little bit there with Albert, Franco's name was one that he brought up. He likes to study Franco because he's one of the great hitters to come from the Dominican Republic. Well, 3 ground ball outs, a strong vintage inning there for downtown Atlanta. The city skyline is seen from Turner Field. It's the St. Louis Cardinals 10, the Atlanta Braves 4. And it is 11 o'clock Eastern time, and maybe you've tuned in for SportsCenter. SportsCenter comes up right after the ball game. And Kevin Frazier and Stuart Scott will have the entire day in the world of sports. And how about the dream team turned into the nightmare team?
Well, the good thing, John, it's not over. They still have a chance.
A complete day in Major League Baseball. The Sunday conversation will be with Brett Favre. SportsCenter right after the game. Tim Drew, the brother of J.D. Drew, and Renteria hits one that's just foul. Into that right field corner, the new right fielder, Nick Green, gave chase on that one. Edgar Renteria threatened to wrap one around that foul pole. There's Nick Green, one of the Braves rookies, now in right field. Charles Thomas moves from right field over to center field. So Andrew Jones is gone. So I guess Green's going to hit. I'm not even going to guess. I was going to guess, but now I decided against it. And a big curveball there from Tim Drew. That's a strike. It's 0-2. Tony La Russa and Bobby Cox. These are two of the longest tenured managers in baseball today. I mean, La Russa got his first major league managing job in 1979 with the White Sox. That one took a bad hop, but coming back to get it is Giles, and he gets Renteria anyway. One away. Took a bad hop and caused him to actually overrun that ball.
Yeah, that's the point. He almost overran it.
So one man gone, and now Reggie Sanders will come up.
See, he runs back, has to reach behind him. You always try to catch the ball in front of you. He reached back, hit off the edge of his glove, but he was able to pounce on it, get the out at first.
I thought it hit like a little dirt clod or a pebble or something.
Hit something.
And bounced
a
little bit differently than where he anticipated.
But I have to tell you, we watch games every week. Very rarely do you see a bad hop anymore. I mean, you may see a big hop or something, but very rarely you see a ball hugging the ground, then all of a sudden jump up because it hit a pebble. These infields are so good now.
Center field. There's Charles Thomas, who's out there now. And that is at number 2. Two down, nobody on. Fans, once you experience ESPN HD, you will never go back. To check out the HD experience, get to your local Best Buy and check out Philips HD TV. You can get one just like we have back here. It's Joe's, actually. Following the game, SportsCenter will be coming up, and it too is now available and presented in high definition on ESPN HD. That's a base hit for Mike Matheny. And he needs one. He's been struggling.
Well, you said you saw he and Mitchell Page out working this early today. That always helps your confidence. If you work on something, you go out and put it in play and you get a base hit. Now he'll be glad to work on it again tomorrow.
And there is the rage, Mitchell Page.
Yeah.
His manager, Tony La Russa, has managed at least 1,000 games now for 3 different teams, the White Sox, the Athletics, and the Cardinals. He's only the 2nd major league manager ever to do that. The other was a pretty good one. Leo DeRocher managed over 1,000 games for the Dodgers, Giants, and Cubs. La Russa for the White Sox, Athletics, and Cardinals. Tonight is his 1,412th game as the manager of the Cardinals. Oakland he managed for 1,471 games. So he's almost at the same spot in terms of tenure with the Cardinals as he was with Oakland. Sparky Anderson managed 2 teams for over 1,400 games, the Reds and the Tigers. Tim Drew picks that one up and tags out Hector Luna. The inning is over. 1 hit, 1 left. Last chance for the Braves, last of the 9th, 10-4 Cardinals.
Look out, baby, 'cause here I come. I'm bringing you a love that's true. Get ready,
A nightmarish round of errors and bad decisions and poor fundamental play for the Atlanta Braves, conspiring to help the Cardinals to a 6-run second inning. Then a whole lot of power. That rally was capped off on Roland's 2-run homer. Then Roland hit a 2-run homer again in the 4th inning. And Pujols a 2-run homer in the 8th inning. And now Jason Simon-Tachi in from the Cardinal bullpen to try and wrap this one up. The Cardinals are leading 10-4. John Mabry comes in to play right field in place of Larry Walker here in the last half of the 9th inning. And these 2 clubs meeting here, and of course they both seem destined for October baseball. So if they were to meet again this year, it would have to be in October.
Yeah.
They have no other games scheduled against one another.
And depending on, you know, who wins the wild card in the National League, they could play each other. It depends.
As the day began, the wild card leader was Chicago in the National League. The Cubs were number 1 in the wild card. The Cardinals have the best record in the league, and since the Cubs are in their division, they would not play them in the first round. They would play the wild card if the wild card was from another division. And Simon-Tachi throws out Nick Green, and there is one away. Sports Center coming up right after the ball game. Stay tuned for that. The game summary: St. Louis 10 runs, 11 hits. Atlanta 4 runs, 10 hits, and 3 errors. Roland 2 homers, 4 RBIs. He leads the National League with 102 batted in. Pujols a 2-run shot, and Larry Walker continues to be productive. 2 for 4, 2 batted in, 3 scored. He had a hand in 5 of the Cardinals' runs in his 8th game with the Cardinals. There's ball 1 to Mark DeRosa. He is 1 for 3. We're talking about Tony La Russa, Joe, and of course on the other side of things, Bobby Cox. Tonight is the 121st regular season matchup between La Russa and Cox as managers. And Cox is way ahead. Even if he loses this one, his record against Tony will be 76-45. It's the 5th most meetings between active managers. You see the record as it stacks up. There's Scott Rowland, and DeRosa is out number 2. 2 men gone. And Bobby Cox, I mean, his ball clubs win year in and year out. They're well on their way to their 13th consecutive division title.
And that's amazing because, you know, most people did not give them a chance at the start of this season after, you know, after Sheffield left, Maddox left. I mean, it just looked like they were going to be decimated. But Bobby Cox and his coaching staff deserves a lot of credit for just keeping this team afloat until they found themselves, found an identity, and they played like Braves. They played Braves baseball since that point.
And it was fortunate that they weren't in the Cardinals division.
Right. Well, that's true.
They would have been dead and buried early with the start they had.
But I really think that Bobby Cox does not get enough credit for, you know, the job that he has done all the years he's been here.
Eddie Perez, by the way, is the pinch hitter with 2 down.
But they were always giving him, you know, saying, well, he had Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz, and all these pitchers. But I think he's proven the last few years that he can do it just by managing and getting the most out of his players. And that's that horse thing I was talking about. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you do not have a good manager, that talent doesn't get the most out of its ability. And that's what Bobby Cox does so well. He gets the most out of his players. And Tony La Russa as well.
Scott Rowland, and that ends the ball game. The Cardinals take the rubber match of the series and win 2 out of 3. And will they meet again come October? Well, we'll find out. Stay tuned. Next week we'll be in Chicago for the Red Sox and the White Sox, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. We hope you'll join us then. Cardinals 10, Braves 4. For Joe Morgan, Reese Davis, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm John Miller. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast. SportsCenter is coming up next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Let's go to sports.